So I'm jumping back into the CPL save, which is the Canadian Premier League, and we played this as a network save. We won the league every season that we played as part of a network with other streamers from North America or based in North America. And then we had this challenge that I wanted to continue because we got so close so many times, and that is to win the North American Champions League with a Canadian team. First season we wasn't in it. Second season we made the semi-final. Continued to make the semi-final. Semi-final again with Club America becoming to be our nemesis. We made the final this year, lost to Club America again. I wonder if it was a close game. Yeah, we beat them on XG. We beat Club America on XG most games that we've played them. Semi-final again, lost. We had a red card in that game. And then the first time we drew Club America, we got knocked out. So there's been a little bit of regression. And I'm hoping coming back to this save with a new perspective, some fresh eyes, a break from the game, I can come and evaluate my team, maybe see where we've failed, maybe. And hopefully, even if first time viewer here, I've just been watching your video on the 3-3-3-1 formation and playing players out of position. Loved it. Oh, thank you so much. Have you seen stuff that's going around about people modding the match engine? Yeah, I see one video thumbnail, but that's it. I haven't seen anything else. So one thing I'm going to do right now is jump in and kind of assess my squad with a new, fresh set of eyes and kind of see what's going on here. I can see my best player that I have at the club right now is not even registered. And I think that's because he was the guy that was going to be least unhappy about being unregistered. He's still going to be unhappy about it, but the least unhappy because of his age. We brought him in. There's some other players that he might perceive as better than him, so he's not too upset about being left out. You see these two regen players, one's Turkish, one's Scottish, and then this one looks really, really good with his vision and his passing. Some good attributes, a good player that I'm looking to build the team around. We brought in this guy, Sandra, who's a central midfielder, looks like a central midfielder. We've converted him to a left back, runs with ball through the center, kind of an inverted wing back guy. Few cons on these players in terms of injuries and consistency and stuff. Diamandi, don't ask me. A lot of people are like, I know you cheated in the game because you have Diamandi in the Canadian League. But some people who watched the stream have said, like, if I hadn't watched the stream, I wouldn't believe you. He has declined a little bit, like he's lost some pace, he's had some injuries. Most players decline at this quality, decline at the club because they're in Canada. Facilities are not great and stuff, so yeah. Bungard, arguably just as good as him. Lacks a little pace, but cool winger, striker, / number 10 kind of guy. Type of player I look for. Carrera's been our probably best signing, I would say. Hi, Ilor Bob. Hello. You've been waiting a long time, huh? I'm sorry for the wait. Hopefully I can make that up to you. This is probably the best signing we've ever made. He was a player of the season, one of the seasons in which we played. I think it was the second season. He was player of the season. He's now got part Canadian. He's turned part Canadian, so he gives us a bit of leeway in the registration because he's such a good Canadian starter. I love this player. He's great. Hi, Bones. Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone back, despite me having quite a long break. I didn't expect so many people, so thank you. Thank you for still considering me. Mariba, another one that we're super fortunate to have. Crazy for this level, right? Crazy to have Mariba in the CPL. We have this guy. He's not even registered. We must have. I'm thinking a loyal fan base. Yeah, I appreciate you. I might not have the biggest fan base, but I've definitely got a loyal fan base. That's for sure. So if we look at this player, you can tell I've brought him in because I could, and with the view to resell him probably. It's funny when you look back at old saves and you're like, why did I do this? Like at the time you're filled with logic and reasoning, and then you come back and look at a save. I'm like basically saving my own save right now. Come back, I'm looking at these players. Pobega was crazy this season. Scoring, like, you know, they say like DMs. I've seen people post stuff and videos where people say like DMs never get above a 6.9 or something. This guy played as Volante most of the games, and then other half of the games played as centre-back. And he got 14 goals, 3 assists, and a 7.3 average rating, mostly playing as a volante. There's been some drop-off in his performances, but still great. We've got Bellanova as well, somehow, for the Canadian Premier League. If you wonder how I have been able to get such good players, such high reputation players in the Canadian Premier League, my whole strategy when I started, I do have a YouTube video about this, but my whole strategy when I started was to sign as higher profile players as possible, or higher reputation players as possible, in the view to attract more higher reputation players to snowball from there. And what a lot of people did in my save was go for young players who could develop. I didn't want to do that because I didn't feel they were going to develop with the facilities as well as they might in other leagues, and people would rely on these players becoming to a standard that they probably wasn't going to reach. So I went for high profile players, and yeah, you'll see a good few Canadians here. One little issue we have is players are aging now. Our good Canadians are kind of aging. Not to the extent that's terrible, but a lot of them, like I see Tiaguinho. I see Tiaguinho earlier, and I was like, wow. It feels like not long ago we signed him as a ripe 26-year-old, and now he's got Canadian citizenship, but he's really declined as a player. Obviously, he's still good all-round midfielder to want to keep, my kind of player, and a lot of the issue we're having is players have lost their pace and whatnot. Are we back in the Canadian League? Yeah, we're doing this. I'm going to win the Canadian Champions League, or I'm giving up. We're going to have one more shot at it, and I'm going to try my absolute heart out just to make sure I can have that feather in my cap, because we got so close so many times. I tried so hard. I don't want to give up. I will give up after one more attempt, but I think that this is a chance to say this is the last chance, and if we can't do it this time, then we can't dedicate any more time to this. Other stuff I want to do, but so we're going through the team here. Some interesting signings, some interesting things I've done. Like, I'm not fully, it's been a while since I played this, so I'm like, why have I done this? Why have I done this? I'm hoping that it's all going to come back and make sense to me. When I was saying about aging players, I'm talking about a key fullback here who's like 30 years old now, and I really feel like this is my last chance to do it. You see, I've got plugged in here an interesting tactic, and I was thinking, why have I done this double register thing? Why have I done this? I hope I'm not the only one who comes back to saves and thinks, what the hell was I doing here? But now I'm looking at my opposition, and I'm seeing that they're playing a 4-2-2-2, and it makes sense to play a 3-4-2-1 against it. He's got some decent strikers, and yeah, this is a really good striker. I'm surprised that I didn't consider trying to sign this guy, as he's Canadian as well. But yeah, I wanted to try and make a fancy positional play 4-3-3. Same as me, buddy. You'll see in this video, see in the stream today, I'm going to try and attempt at least a somewhat interesting 4-3-3 at some point too. Do you have any tips since you're an Arsenal fan? I love the Arsenal tactic. I love the Arsenal tactic. I love that the wingers become part of the back five. It makes a lot of sense. It's really cool. It can be a bit predictable at times, bit one-dimensional, but very solid, very good defensively. It's cool having wingers who are going to do the business. So one thing I like to do when I jump back in saves, the first thing I do personally is go to selection info and check who's upset. I don't want to forget current playing time happiness and situations. Look, the guy wants to start more games. This guy wants to be part of the national team setup. He's out of his mind. It's never going to happen. Another thing I wanted to mention real quickly while we were analysing the squad was Goodman is as good a goalkeeper as we ever can get. He's part Canadian. He's tall. He can do all the things that we need. Fair amount of all of the stuff that we basically need. We're never, ever going to find a better goalkeeper than this. Like, I mean, he can just have whatever he wants, whenever he wants. None of this matters in terms of how much we have to pay him. He's basically indispensable. He's the the guy. I know that he's already got a long contract and this is a bit unnecessary, but in terms of, oh, hello, Rock and Roller. Nice to see you, buddy. How you doing? Oh, so sweet of everyone to just jump straight back in like I never left. It makes me feel great. It makes me feel like in my head, I'm like, 2 people are going to watch this, but I'm still going to do it because I will feel like playing. I might as well stream it. I like thinking out loud too. I think that thinking out loud is helpful to me. I'm going to sit there talking to myself like a weirdo if I play the game now. When you stream, you get in this habit of kind of talking to yourself. All right, so without a doubt, we're going to make sure that you're also going to see I'm a little rusty too. We're going to make sure that our players who are unhappy are going to get game time. We don't want them to become more unhappy. We are concerned. We want everyone on the team to be happy. There's a key thing. Sean Young has been a bit of a club legend. He's my last player, I believe, I have at the club who was an OG. The last player that I've got that I started with and kept him. He isn't incredible by any means. He's like an all-rounder kind of guy, but because he's Canadian, you give a lot of leeway. You need these good Canadians in your side. Diamandi, he's had some bad injuries for us since coming back, but we're going to make sure that he's in the team, getting fit, getting back to full strength. Interesting to see how this Aiden guy kind of progresses in the team. He looks like the best player in the team right now, I would say, but we'll see. Do you remember when someone was saying Arsenal should get Amarin and said we can't play with wing backs? I think that if we did get Amarin as our manager, it would have been at the expense of someone like Saka. Now we've got Skelly. We could have seen like a Skelly-Saka combo, but I don't know about that one. Man United players are clearly not up to it. If you can remember, I did a tweet which aged pretty well where I said their squad wasn't suited for that formation. I think we're seeing that now. You could tell the players that I predicted the players that would suffer from it. Garnacho, Rashford. I thought Martinez might thrive a bit more and a few others, but yeah, the decline of Man United has been crazy. Even from a massive Man United hater, I can see that has become insane. So Regista for this guy, I see that. I see it. I don't know if he has to be this mobile. Like, I don't know if he has to. I think that Regista makes perfect sense for Mariba. I don't know if this guy kind of has to be. I think a defensive midfielder here makes sense. Maybe I'm being a bit too conservative, but I like this staggered midfield and this setup. It looks cool to me. This guy cutting in, inverted winger. In hindsight, great to step backwards going to United. Oh, I don't think they're going to be terrible forever. I think they've got fixable problems. But we'll see. Interesting to see what's going on with my goalkeeper situation. I have one goalkeeper on the bench and he's injured. This ain't good. He's an under 21 player. I bet he's terrible. I mean, he's acceptable for this level. You have to compromise a lot when it comes to under 21 Canadians. They'll sack him before he gets the chance to. I don't know about that. Okay, this is our best defender probably, but all our best defenders are not going to play because they're pretty happy. I think we're going to go with a squad that looks like this. Yeah, you're saying it more so like they shouldn't, but they probably will because they're stupid. You think they're going to do stupid stuff. I don't mind the idea of inverted wing back here. He's got fairly good crossing. I don't know if I want him cross less often. But we could make our own inverted wing back. We just do narrow, cut inside with the ball. But we still have cross more often, take more risks, shoot less often. It doesn't need to dribble more. So we've made our own inverted wing back here. What's up, buddy? Hello. We were just talking about Man United trying through, and then you arrived. New football fan here, trying to think of a team to support. Any suggestions? Dribble more, huh? I don't think this man needs dribble more. See, he went up. Look, you'll have some problems. When you play Football Manager, right, you'll come back into it and look at a save and you'll think, what the hell was I doing? You're like, you'll look at this. All these boys can dribble more. Pobega, left side centre-back, really like him. I want to suffer, but have an amazing history with the best manager ever lived. But now they have pants. Yeah, it's kind of, for glory hunters who picked Man United, it's kind of one of them karma things. It would be like good karma if we'll do an underlap here. Underlap here makes a lot of sense. So let's check these instructions. Dribble more, get further forward, take more risks. Sure, he's going to come here, he's going to come here, he's going to come here, he's going to add to this, he's going to support this, sit in front of them. He's going to get further forward, cross from byline. Cross more often, I guess, is mandatory on a defensive winger. We love this guy. For some reason, have a look at this guy. He doesn't look spectacular in any way, shape or form. In the base game when he plays for Inter Milan, he is spectacular, like for this level particularly. He's declined a good amount, so you could say he's reasonable to be in this league. He's 30 years old now. However, he just plays so well every time we play him. Diamandi, shadow striker, tackle harder, roam from position. Has he got good crossing? I can't remember Diamandi. Not particularly. So we'll just get him roam from position, dribble more. He's a great dribbler. No cross more often, no shoot more often. Carrera, let's see this man. Take more risk, cut inside with the ball. Sit narrower, let's not do that. Let's just have him normal, tackle harder. He's going to keep the width, blah, blah, blah. And then Jebinson, he hasn't ever been super spectacular for us. I think roam from position shouldn't be on a striker now. That's my kind of thinking. He's just going to hold this, especially like this in this kind of setup, this kind of way. So pick unpick positions, and then let's see who's left out. Let's check the left out players if any of them are really unhappy. Delighted. Seems good to me. Bellanova's not going to play this game because we're focusing on happiness. How should you decide when players should sit narrower or stay wider? Well, this guy's sitting narrower. We decided he's going to be inverted wing back, basically. An inverted wing back who crosses more. So how I would say it is we're playing against this, so we want to provide some width on either wing. We don't have to have two wide players, but we want to provide some width. So on one side of the flank, we have a defensive winger who has mandatory stay wider. So he's providing a width on this flank, and then this guy's sitting narrower. So we're going to want someone to hold the width, stretch the pitch. I like stretching the pitch. I like having someone wide here, someone up forward here. Ease off tackles. Hello, buddy. Hello. So I like the idea of stretching the pitch in all sides, having at least one player staying wide. So I think that's enough of that. And we've evaluated our squad. We'll get into a little bit maybe about scouting and what we want. This is my dream player. I love this guy as a midfielder. He has everything I could want with a midfielder. Love his player traits. They're great. He's available for free. He's part Canadian. This is about as good as it can get as a sign-in. Absolute no-brainer. We're not able to get him right now. We're hoping that neither of these Mexican teams sign him so that he kind of reduces his demands, and personal instructions that make him an inverted wingback. So I'm not going to do it right now, but if I clicked inverted wingback, he would basically have every single one of these traits. Sit narrower, cut inside with the ball. He would have all of these if I put him as an inverted wingback, but he'd be on cross less often. The problem is one of his best traits is crossing. One of his best offensive traits is crossing. So we want him to cross more often, or at least not cross less often. We could say cross a normal amount, but we don't want him cross less often. And then we've got a striker who's going to do fairly well in the air, 6'3", 12 jumping reach. Maybe doesn't justify the full crossing, which is why I switched off cross more often to across a normal amount. If we had someone who was amazing in the air, beautiful, like Vil Saint, the guy that we had before, then maybe we would consider that. We do have a transfer window coming up soon. It worries me that I haven't obviously paid attention. I'm not in the full flow of this. What's up, Costas? Hello, everybody. Thanks for saying hello to me and the chat. That's nice. Look, we got double register right now. We had double register for a second. I switched it back to DM. I think this is a little bit more balanced. This gives me the 3-3-1-3 vibe still. I could switch to 3-3-1-3 as well. Bring this guy up, bring this guy in the middle, do something like that. And make it kind of a hybrid. But we've got two right footers. You notice a lot in this save. We struggle to find good left-footed left backs. So as a compromise, we always played in kind of tactics where we were like this, where we had one inverted and one going wide. We were adjusting the tactic to their foot, and I find that really interesting. Not like there's a kind of thinking in my head that we want to. You can tell me to sign or not, guys. This can be up to you. But we can get this guy 800 a week, fringe player, doesn't need to be registered. He's Canadian. He looks okay for cup games and stuff. Can give other players a rest in injury disasters. I mean, he's quick enough. He's got enough about him. He looks fine. I don't see any real... I'm not even going to put this to a vote. There's no real negatives to signing him. He takes up a body in the dressing room. He takes up a body in training. That's the only negative I could see, which is fairly great. I forgot my point I was just saying. Oh, yeah. There's something fun. I don't like it when it's too constricting, right? When you force to play a tactic because of certain players. You have to build a... Whoa. Let's go through these scout reports because we haven't had a look in a long time. We'll do it by that view. You can tell I'm rusty in it. Scouting center. Rapid 22-year-old looking midfielder that wants a lot of wages. Some young goalkeeper. Looks fine to me. I look at agility there. No harm in fully scouting these players, I guess. We kind of avoid regens and these players in general, but we're getting to the stage in the save where you're going to have to start thinking of these players. Just signed an absolute worldie in my save. Training's finishing and it'll probably be world class. Ooh, I'll have a look. I would have a look immediately in the Discord, but because I've been this guy's got no club and he looks good. I mean, we're already overhauled in the center for midfielders, but this is a midfielder I would go for immediately. He's well within our wage cap. We are getting somewhat close to the wage cap. Look at this guy. On reflection, looking at this guy, I do think that it was a mistake to not try and get him earlier when he wanted less wages. He's got a bit more established. He's on a non-contract. We can't really afford him right now, but these physicals, I think, was a bit silly for me to avoid. Another midfielder looks fantastic. He wants 43k a week, so let's not even think about that. But I've kind of avoided these regens for various reasons. Just focusing on the higher reputation players. This sort of guy's obviously amazing. Morris was the guy. And yeah, kind of focusing on high reputation to gain more reputation. I had this thinking. I wasn't fully... I'd tested it before, right? I'd been lower level clubs and signed higher reputation players and then been able to snowball and get more. I don't know. Maybe it's to do... I haven't played a save in Belgium, but maybe it's to do with their contracts and how we're set up in the Belgium league. I've never actually done... The two leagues that I would be interested in doing that I've never done is Belgium and Portugal. I think they're the natural kind of... If I was to choose to do a save... I'm actually going to save this right now. Okay, I'm going to save this right now because I don't want to mess up the registration and I will cheat to fix the registration if I do it wrong. I don't want to be punished for my absence in this save and coming back to it. Zappa, my man. I'm sure I mentioned this a couple of times already, but no one responded. So have you ever come back to an old save and looked at it and thought, what the hell am I doing? And then obviously when you're in the zone, you're in the flow of decisions, you know why you're doing everything. But then you come back to a save and you look at it and you think, why was I doing this? Why is this guy not registered? Or this, like some of these players I can't even remember. I mean, the registration all seems fine. Farsi impact sub. Farsi looks good. Farsi looks all right. Or maybe I'm blinded by the upwards arrows, but I mean, Irwin's not going to maybe be happy about this. How did this guy end up at my club? Yeah, that kind of stuff. 425k. 425k compensation. Like, what was I doing right here? Was I thinking that we got no backup goalkeeper at all? Is that what I was thinking? Does he even count as under 21 Canadian? Okay, he counts as under 21 Canadian. So you're telling me I was thinking about buying this guy for 425k because I needed a backup goalkeeper. Is that what was happening? I was saying, oh, I've actually got no backup goalkeeper at all, and I can get him in and replace this guy. Maybe I felt like I was forced to, and I have no other option. We're going to trust my old brain. We're going to trust former me. We're going to trust me in a past life and say, yes, we needed him. Because I'm not sure I would spend 425 grand on a backup goalkeeper unless I was absolutely desperate. Well-timed injury from this backup goalkeeper to make me feel like this was a better decision. You know, we're not going to do well without a goalkeeper. We've been through that pain. I'm sure I'm going to want to register him now. This is what happens when you get to these desperate kind of situations where you've got no goalkeeper and you're like, okay, we need a goalkeeper. So that guy was terrible anyway. And then this registration all makes sense with this fella. I had this guy as an under 21, but he's now not registered. He looks fine. A lot of these players that come up, you'll be like, he's terrible. But there's a under 21 Canadian minutes rule, so you have to abide by that. And some of the Canadians we got are not great, but there hasn't been crazy good young Canadians that are able to get. Our team hasn't produced any playable under 21 players from 7 seasons or something from youth recruitment. We haven't managed to get any, so we will put this goalkeeper on the bench. I'm sure that this season we're going to struggle for minutes. Cuemeto, maybe we need him on the bench. We've got Neil, I don't know. We'll rest him. Oh, Spanish lower league is a good place for players. We're very constricted by who we can bring in. I know that prior to this, I was like, there is no one on earth we can bring in right now. What? This is 4.2 million player, huh? 30-year-old Canadian. Final squad registration. We're going to see if people become unhappy now. If they do, it's because... Okay. All right. Discuss with him. I understand your... let me think for a second. I understand your frustration. It's fine. I'll find you a new club as soon as possible. I do think this is a hack. I think this is like a cheat in the game. So you sign someone in Canada. You sign someone, you know they're not going to be registered. They get upset and they're easier to sell. So we'll see if we can actually sell him to see if my theory is correct. Yeah. So we're getting a 700k turnaround on a player that we brought in for free. We grabbed him. We waited until he was upset and then we're selling him. This guy's upset. I'm going to try and loan him out because he's clearly amazing, especially for this level. And we're going to want him as a replacement for some other players, but I don't want to sell him. Different situation than the other guy. Loan move. Need to leave permanently. I'll tell him I'll look for clubs for him, but I won't really. We've apparently signed this guy and with no intention of registering him for some reason. I don't know why I grabbed this guy. Maybe I was a bit worried about the lack of depth in the centre-back position. He seems fine. There's nothing wrong with him, but we'll see if we can sell him. This one might be a bit trickier because of his age and I don't know if he's 12 grand. It's better than nothing, and don't know if I want to just keep him at the club unhappy. We can also kind of keep him unhappy and just play him in the cup games if we get injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a long-term transition because it's the end of the transfer window, and this is a big save file that we've worked on. We've sold this guy as well. He's already sold for 350k. Another guy we've brought in for free. We've done a crazy business. If you want a little recap, I like to, when I watch people's streams, I like to see recap of their transfers. And I think you're going to clearly see the strategy, what I did here. First signing was desperation. Second signing, desperation. Third signing brought in a real quality to help us improve our team. And then we moved him on for some money. Mola Wagyu was probably one of our best signings, help us win the league in the first season, which helped us snowball massively. If we didn't win the league, we would have lost out on a lot of players to Forge. Cleared out a lot of the deadwood here. I made it out like I got a lot of money for Torres. I recalled that wrong. We got okay money for him. And you can see here just a massive amount of free signings. I think Silvera was one of the notables. Russell Rowe was a key one. We look at this and then we start spending our money on loans to make sure we've got good Canadians. Keep bringing people in for free. Keep turning them over. I think Jovic was a massive sale. Have you been playing your Fiorentina save? Not off stream, no, but I have looked at it. I think it's super cool. I like the Fiorentina save. I really want to win the league first season playing just to prove that you don't have to play players in position. Signed Biuk and then sold him. Same with some other guys. Faye is one I kind of regret. I kind of regret not transforming this guy into some god tier player for Canadian League, but I remember the performances didn't match the attributes, but I think I should have just stuck it out and persevered until he turned great. Again, we signed Sotil and sold him for $1 million immediately. We signed him. We bought him the same season we sold him. We've done this numerous times to kind of maintain our loan spending habits. Like we're spending $2.5 million a year on just loans. And the reason we're doing that is so we can have the best Canadians possible. We had a great player here, sold him. Great player here, sold him. We've been really ruthless in our turnover. This is probably the most ruthless signing and sale we did. We signed this guy. Everyone loved him. This was the stream's favorite player. He didn't live up to his expectation of this kind of attributes. We thought he was going to be god tier. He was all right. And now we've ended up selling him. And it's just kind of that... we're kind of signing players and selling them before they want to leave. We kind of predicting that there's going to be an influx of teams. The player's going to be unhappy. He's going to want silly wages. We're a lower reputation team. So we've been signing players with the view of turning them over and replacing them because we're finding replacements, right? I think that if we look at who would you say that I replaced him with? It was Bungard, right? If you look at Bungard and the kid... I think that there's you could go both ways. It's a preferential thing, whether you preferred the quicker guy or the more kind of all-rounded guy, but I don't think that it's like a huge downgrade. And again, we're adding 1.1 million by selling him, so we're having this big turnover. And that money is allowing us to get these... We have a big outlay of Canadian loan signings that we're trying to maintain. So you can kind of justify any of the sales because there's Forge got knocked out by Monterrey. It'd be sick if Forge won the Canadian Champions League before I did in the save. Hey, what's up, Brazilian Fury? Hello, buddy. It would be kind of sick if another Canadian team really rubbed salt in the wound by winning it before I did. I think it's a good chance of that happening if we did continue the what do you call it? Network save. If we continued the network save, I think there's a chance that Forge could have won it before me. And the reason that could have happened is it's just basically a case of who draws Club America first. Like, whoever can avoid Club America is going to be one of the favorites. But as soon as anyone gets Club America, it's kind of a wrap. So we are building a squad, and we are building to beat Club America. Now, Club America keep improving every season, which is not helping us either. They've got an insane team. I'm not going to go through their team right now, but that is the level that we need to beat. We're beating them on XG, but we're not smashing them on XG. We're kind of... I know, them big Mexican teams are so good. The Mexican League is awesome. Such a higher standard than people realize. Like, the Mexican League's got to be comparable with the Championship. Surely. The Championship is kind of, I think one could say the Mexican League is better than the Championship, and you wouldn't be crazy. You can make an argument for both. I'm not dying on that hill. I'm not making a definite statement, but what I'm trying to say is I think that the Mexican League is very, very good. A save in the Mexican League would be cool. I forgot about the negatives of it. People have told me why they don't like it or something. Maybe the registration, maybe something weird. But this is what we're going with. It's kind of our 3-3-1-3 hybrid. I think that it does really well against this setup. For people that forget, we accidentally left the clubs on kind of managed by... It wasn't AI managing them, so they kind of like died. So what we did was got the help from a bunch of people from chat and Discord to come in and fix these clubs, give them new tactics, make signings for them to make the league competitive still, because they would get a lot of players were getting released, and it wasn't great. Okay, you've not been training good, bud. So yeah, they helped basically fix a lot of the issues. So this league would still be good, competitive, still give them some freshen up, give them some new tactics, give me something to play around with instead of just continuing to play in whatever way. We're getting 725k for this guy, a guy we've just brought in for free. Remember at the start of the stream, earlier in the stream, I was saying, why the hell did I bring this guy in? I didn't even register him. Like, what plans did I have for him? Was he going to be a replacement for someone that I've not considered? And then he becomes unhappy. We just sell him, and then we can look to reinvest that cash. I'm not sure how much of retention we got, 85%. We'll get this funds back up. We do have another loan slot, maybe for next window, that I can bring in. But we are looking just to see out this season. And... brain, help me, brain. See out this season and kind of evaluate the squad and who we can keep. By the looks of the teams, the caliber of teams that want our best players, it's going to be hard to keep them. I'll have to make a decision. Do I want to keep these unhappy players in the hope that... okay, I'm even more happy now putting him on DM, seeing the... We've got the underlap on this side. Further reason that he's an inverted wingback. Squad number selection. I'm not going to be super particular about it. And yeah. We'll evaluate who we can keep. Yeah, we'll evaluate who we can keep at the end of the season. Who's worth keeping, who's unhappy. Bellanova is a really tricky one because he's... Bellanova's a really... We're going to use the 4-3-3 when we play against someone that it makes sense to play against striker. Could do it in this game. It wouldn't be bad by any means, but yes. We are... we're going to evaluate who is worth keeping unhappy. Bellanova contract is something that we can't renew, so he's going to be a big miss. Having our squad get worse to try and win the Champions League is not something I love the idea of. But maybe we can find a great wing back, get lucky and find another great wing back, or find a Canadian who can convert to wing back. We've got a defensive winger here, plays it to the DM. DM crosses in. Jebinson, not the best in the air for a tall striker. His height is a bit misleading for how good he should be in the air, maybe. Could we potentially take the time to train him? Yes, but our training hasn't been super successful in this league, given okay, so not too bad. Okay start. Could make some changes. They would arguably be overdoing it. They would arguably be too tinkery. Got Pobega here, always plays great. Left-sided centre-back, converted a midfielder into a left-sided centre-back. You can see he would get a decent amount of time on the ball, being in a back three here. Not tons of time. He still is against the front two. We've got Brout, Juilliard not doing too well in his kind of underlapping role here. So there's two modes of thinking. That modes of thinking is we can match up or we can kind of exploit. So we were matching up and it hasn't resulted in a goal immediately. So we're going to focus on the exploit now. By what I mean by exploit is there's not much you can do about this double up out wide. And we're going to sacrifice getting dominated in the center by exploiting the wide areas. Okay. So now we're going to effectively double up in the wide areas and we're going to give up the pressure that we can put here more so. And the reason we're going to do that is we don't rate his DMs on the ball. Okay. We don't know this guy too well, but we know this guy is not exactly deadly. It's not like we're going to give this guy tons of time and he's going to Perlo us. So we're going to flick this guy out wide. Tiny little change. Nothing super drastic. It's not a complete... We're moving one guy position to a little bit of a different area. That's it. Don't like what I saw. Let's do something. Jebinson missed a good chance. We can put Bungard on for Jebinson. You're allowed to play more foreign players. One thing it took me a long time to realize, you can bring on more foreign players. You just can't start with them. If I knew that, oh man. If I knew that for the first 4 or 5 seasons of this network save, I didn't know you could bring on foreign players for a Canadian player. I prefer matching up against weaker teams than trying to exploit against better teams. Yeah, I think of it the opposite way. I tend to want to match up against the tougher teams and then do the exploit against weaker teams, just because the weaker teams are less threatening. We've seen Young not do too great in this game. We can switch to this. He's left-footed, so we switch him around. Brout Juilliard has not really killed it. And then, how many subs do you get again? 5. They changed it, yeah. So we go Bellanova here. This is just a huge quality increase. We're trying to out-quality them. Really not the typical striker in a Fletch tactic. Let's assess that statement. You've made the point, Bungard's not the typical striker because he's not tall and he hasn't got great jumping. He's more of a false 9 type striker. He's a smaller guy, so yeah, not necessarily your typical Fletch striker. When you think of a Fletch type striker, you think of the slower, tall guys, the stronger guys. I definitely like a tall, strong centre forward. Their centre-back's pretty good for this level. You can see them not create too much this game, considering they've got a really attacking tactic. I like this little setup. But you see here, having the more creative strike here is going to help bring some people into play. I can't believe we haven't got a goal from that one. That was very MLS-y. This whole little passage of play reminded me of MLS, maybe even the Canadian League itself. Toy is a great example of a striker. Yeah, I miss Toy. I miss the two. You know when you lose players in a save, players that you really love that you just couldn't keep again? Toy and Vil Saint are two of my favourite players that I wish we could have in this team. Pobega wins the header there to Bellanova. Oh, Mariba the baller. Nice ball through. Should be something here. Wow. Reminds me of my seven-a-side team. Some of this play here reminds me of my seven-a-side co-ed team. That ball is crazy. Bungard, justified in my substitution, I guess. The game wanted to reward me, wanted to give me that dopamine, wanted to give me that feeling of validation. Nice of Football Manager. It knows I haven't played in a while. And it's like, hey, how about your substitute comes on and scores? No, I haven't played the new match engine that's come out. I might. It's like a mod, right? But yeah, Bungard here with a goal. Buchanan again, I told you, he's just so consistent. Some players on Football Manager, you just look at their attributes and they're not it, right? Their attributes just don't reflect their performances. They just randomly play great. Bungard again, finishing is overrated. I guess height is overrated for the most part. I had him, but I definitely think we'd have had a goal earlier if Jebinson was better in the air, so hard to say. Lovely pass from Diamandi here, finds Carrera. First time strike from Bungard. He's come on and got the 2 goals. We look really good now. Our XG shot up. We was able to create a bit more. Made some positive changes, I think. We started solid. I like to start solid and not let the opposition score and then go from there. Take risks later in the game rather than earlier, but not necessarily always. The King Buchanan, we call him the King because he just don't put a foot wrong. He's just, I don't know, something about him, he's just great. I love him. He forced his way into the first team. He's not really meant to be a starter. He's not got the attributes compared to some of the other people at the club. There he goes, lovely. Bringing Bellanova on changed the game as well. He's much more quality than Braut Juliard, especially because Braut Juliard's out of form. We've got a right-footed inverted wing back here, cuts inside and plays the pass instead of the cross. Lovely, falls to Carrera, who gets the finish. Lovely. And this kind of shows we took a chance by playing a slightly weaker side to start with for the sake of happiness, sake of squad squad morale. But then we realized maybe we needed just a bit more quality to make sure we get the win rather than continuing to risk it. So we did a mixture of taking risks early and I love the inverted wing back. I know he's technically not an inverted wing back. He's wing back on attack, but we have underlap, sit narrower, and cut inside with the ball. So he is an inverted wing back. He's a customized inverted wing back, and we can see that here because he's driving in and then gets a goal. Our substitutions are really. Do you have fun using meta-like tactics against the AI? I'm in this weird place where I don't know what works, but I decide not because it turns the game too easy. I don't know, because a lot of the theories that I have, I would want to apply in real life too. I'd maybe if it was real life, I'd do a mixture of this and this. I'd do like this. In real life, I'd time this. Outside of that, I don't know in real life how much, because it's meta in the game, but it's also customized to all the players too. That's how I feel that if you ask me, am I too meta or do I divert from the meta and whatnot? My answer to that would be Regista Sandra? Sure. My answer to that would be by making the players do what they're best at, I'm not just picking what I think is broken in the game. I'm thinking what suits them the most. So after this, one of these players are going to come off for probably Nelson. This is looking like a good win now. 3 XG versus a 0.04 XG. everything you could kind of want, besides Jebinson and Brout Juilliard not having great starts of the game. Kind of overloaded with foreign players now, in terms of we need our foreign players to be in our best 11. Yeah, you just need a thing that's hard, right, for Football Manager to make it fun. It's easy-ish to win the Canadian League, but then it's really hard to win the Canadian Champions League. So if you set the bar really high, like I need to beat these top Champions League Canadian teams, then now you're playing a different game because you've set the bar much higher. You can add restrictions to yourself, not necessarily just tactical, but you can things that you think that, okay, this thing's too overpowered, that gives me too much of an edge, or you can adjust the bar in the other way and say, I'm doing this because I want to make the game more difficult. In Football Manager, you kind of set your own... Buchanan's coming off. Going to get some under 21 minutes with this guy. He's not good. This is only 4 minutes of play, so it's not really going to help us too much in terms of the under 21 minutes. But I looked at their tactic. I thought it was really good. I looked at their team. I thought it was good for this level. So I wanted to start the stream on a positive, on a win. And I think that we set up well, and then we made changes that made us great, and then the quality added to it just really separated us from them. You know, that was there's certain ways you can beat people. It's like outsmart them, outwork them, or out quality them. I haven't found a better word for that yet. Out technique them, but we just overwhelm them with quality by bringing on some top tier players, right? That's what happened. We said enough's enough for these okay guys. We'll bring on the big guys and we'll see a game out. So Halifax next. Let's have a look if this is a situation where we can make a 4-3-3 for this. Not really. So say we did this we got a 1 here. He'd be kind of offset, but if we have a 3 here, we can kind of dominate this midfield. Because I said I'll do it, I'll just do it for you. Because I said I want to make one, I'll see if I can make one that works. We will have to keep in mind that this is vacated. This is a 4. This is a 1. So we'll put the Volante on the right and then a Mazzala or something here. All right. So we'll do that. Hey, how's it going? Bringing back the GOAT save. Yeah, I brought it back for you. How's it going? Nice and funny. So I've been requested to make some kind of 4-3-3. Should we blank slate this? I don't think we'll blank slate it because we'll just keep this. But you wanted a 4-3-3. We're going to have an offset Volante for this because we're going to deal with this. So DM, Volante, Mazzala type here. So Mazzala on the left, Volante on the right. We'll do that for you. We'll go like this, and then we'll go here for the Mazzala. Because we've got the Mazzala, we're going to have the inverted wing back on this side. We won't put inverted wing back, I don't think. We'll just do a customized inverted wing back. And then we'll do inverted wing back here, winger here. Will you accept this as a 4-3-3? Well, this has to qualify for you. Well, this is a 4-3-3. We'll have this. We'll have an underlap. We'll have an underlap on this side, fairly narrow. Don't know about passing to space. We could. I'm not fully committed to that. We could have step up more. We don't have to. So let's pick a team for this. And when I pick a team during a season, we like to start with this. Again, Brout still not happy despite not playing particularly well. So we can start him on the left. Correa is going to start on the left again. I'm always doing an awesome job. Average Joe FMers in the bin due to no FM. Average Joe FMers in the bin. Explain what you mean by that. I'd like you to expand on that comment if you don't mind. One thing I did that I feel is good is I never over there were periods of time where I burnt myself out playing too much FM, but not too much. So I haven't played this game as much as maybe some others have. Another thing I did was not get too hyped about FM25. You never heard me say I'm super excited about this. I'm going nuts about Football Manager FM25. So I kind of reduced my expectations massively about the game to the point where when they're like, it's cancelled, I was like, I just weren't expecting much. So I didn't base my whole strategy off looking forward to a new game kind of thing. So we'll put the concern guys in. After that performance, I think that we want to kind of make sure that Bungard's play cuts inside from the right wing. So we can maybe play Bungard as shadow striker. Haven't got a space for Young in this setup right now, I don't think, unless I want to play with a DM, which I don't really think I do. Diamandi Mazzala sounds cool to me. I have an idea, but I've tried to do it in kind of work using the same formation, but using different structures to exploit opposition, kind of like you do, but without changing the overall formation. Do you think that's possible? I don't know. I like changing the formation, so I wouldn't really consider it too much. Oh, you have a good sleep, buddy. I know I'm late. I know I'm late for UK time. This is a good time for me, but I understand it, so... Yeah, so we've got the Volante coming into the shadow striker here. Mazzala coming here out wide. I like the idea of a Mazzala. Okay, when do I like a Mazzala? Okay, I like a Mazzala when the inverted wing back comes into this position and the ball carrier cuts inside. I like the idea that this guy then goes wide. We've got the Volante here to deal with some issues. What are those issues? Those issues are, we are playing against an asymmetrical tactic. We do have this as our danger man, so we kind of want to make sure we've got bodies here. We've got all the space. This is for the Mazzala. Obviously, this guy encroaches, approaches him. We've got the shadow striker sitting here. It all makes some sense. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but you requested it, so here we are. Neil Okello. I think we do this. We just pick them based on who's the most unhappy about their minutes. Neil is ecstatic about his minutes, so we'll go with an Okello. And then it becomes who is going to be the regista in the system. Is it going to be Pobega or is it going to be the kid? And just based on their fitness after last game, we'll go with Pobega. So we've got Mariba Pobega, double regista combo. We'll throw this guy up into a Volante on attack situation, take more risks, shoot less often, move into channels, tackle harder. We've got Pobega. He's not going to be on dribble more. He's not the dribbly boy. We're not going to have him get further forward. We're just going to have him sit in regista. Mazzala, this is the fun part. We're going to have tackle harder, dribble more. Run wide with the ball. Oh, little run wide with the ball action makes sense. He runs wide with this ball. This guy comes in. This guy underlaps. Sounds good to me. You're underlapping, crossing more often. We said maybe cross more often was a bit much. Crossing byline. We're going to have him sitting narrower, cut inside with the ball. And that will maybe change. So this is going to be our 4-3-3 right now. Some of you might look at this and think, this is not a 4-3-3, but this is as much as a 4-3-3 as I'm willing to make. How would you set up against a 4-2-3-1 with CMs other than 4-2 DMs? Haven't found a way. Now, Bob, I know I haven't streamed in a while, but remember that my answer to this question is always, who are their players, who are your best players, and who are their best players? I don't believe there's any tactics, or there is, maybe one could say there's minimal tactics without, not sit narrower, please. I'm glad I caught that. Stay wider. You can dribble more. Run wide with the ball instead of cut inside. Cross on the byline. Cross more often. I don't think Bellanova has the best vision and passing. No, he doesn't. You want to get him on the ball. You want to get him to dribble. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is I just don't believe in any tactics without players. Like I'm going to make a video about it soon. I have to. But so many people ask me about what should I play against this? And my answer is literally the same every time which is who are their best players, who are your best players. So there's no point in me saying a 4-3-3. Hear me out. There's no point in me saying there's a 4-3-3 is best against a 4-2-3-1. Because if their number 10 is their best player and your worst player is your DM, you have a good coach, speak from experience. How do you mean? So if I said, okay, a 4-3-3 lines up with a 4-2-3-1. Okay, if their number 10 is incredible and our number 6 is rubbish, we're going to get wrecked. There's guaranteed we get wrecked. So if their number 10 is their best player and our 6s are not great, we might want to double up. If they have strikers in absolutely poopy, I don't know. You got to think about, I tend to encourage people to think about, have a look at what's going to happen. Can we not predict it? Okay, let's think about this situation and let's look at this team and how I would talk about approaching it. Who's dangerous? Canada's pretty dangerous, but not someone we have to really panic about. Then we've got Daniel Berry, again, matchup 1v1. Got a dangerous-ish player here, but we can match up well here. We've got an extra man in this area, and we're looking to exploit. We're leaving Omar to his own demises. He doesn't have much passing vision, not going to ping them super dangerous balls. We've got Mohammed here, who's kind of their best player, right? So in this area, they have effectively their best player as their right-sided 6. So their right-sided 6 is here. However, our best player also arguably is Diamandi. I think Diamandi's our best player. So we've got our best player here, but we've got their best player there. These two are going to be occupied with each other. This is going to be the game, right? These two are going to be dealing with each other. But I like that for us. I think it's favorable for us. Our best player against theirs, and then I think we match up well everywhere else. So oh, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, sorry. I thought you was talking about something to do with Football Manager. So if you get what I'm saying, with this mentality. I know people just want the easy answer. They want you to say this formation is best against this, and then they can play the game and go, okay, cool. I set up this and it did really well, and now I know why it works because this matches up well. I would never really say that. I don't believe there's one way to beat one formation. And again, I always fall between the thinking of their fullback sitting narrower. So do I want to be sitting narrower with them, with my winger, so that he's occupied? Or do I want him to be wider? How I would come to that conclusion is, how much damage can that player cause me if he's left time and space? For example, if we play 7-a-side, you can leave me a good amount of space because I'm not going to go past you. Okay, I'm not going to take the ball. Oh, nice to see. Thank you for saying it's good to see me. Thanks. So, okay, think of it like this. It's kind of simple, but when I put it in these terms, I think. But okay, I've got the ball. I'm in 7-a-side. I'm bringing the ball out of defense. Now, as a attacker, you've got two options. You can come press me, or you can back off me. Now, I'm not going to take you on and skin you and go past you. So you haven't even got to worry about that as an option. So you're going to approach all of your thinking is, okay, he ain't going to smoke me and go by me. If I put a press on him, he might make a worse pass, but I'm not going to skin him alive. So you probably don't want to give me too much time. Oh, bad as it gets. I'm glad I bought that goalkeeper. So you got two options, right? You can let me carry the ball. It's probably the worst option because I wouldn't be able to do much if you come and press me anyway. However, if there's someone who's crazy good dribbling, you go press them and you step out wrong and they go past you. Now they've got a mountain of space to be able to... This is a gift and a curse, this injury. It's bad because we've got a good goalkeeper injured. It's good because we can get our under 21 minutes now without much. Was going to tweet you today to ask to hop back on. Thank you so much. That's nice of you. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. You want to press me because I'm not going to breeze past you. You're going to force me to make a pass quicker is good. You can retreat. I'm not going to step out. I'm not going to play a pass and then run beyond you. I haven't got the pace. But with someone else who's crazy dribbler, you might want to back off them, make them commit, send them away type of situation. That's why I like, this guy's really dangerous. You should go press him. It's like, the guy's gonna, if I go step out and commit, the guy's just gonna smoke me, right? So I might as well step back, step off to an extent. So you gotta think about how these things are gonna play out. So let's see if I can predict a thing that might happen in this game. So we've got our Diamandi here, and he's going to be against Mohamed. Mohamed looks solid in the defensive side, but not too much in the offensive side, right? He's got first touch, he's got a few things, he's cool, but he doesn't look super dangerous. But he's got good tackling and some good things. So we're going to see how the Diamandi Mohamed battle happens in this game. So we signed this player, we didn't register him, and because of that, he's sulking and not training well. So to further extend on my point is that you got to think about how dangerous a player is and how much time you want to give him. That's what formations are on Football Manager. The player that's near them is going to be on them. And then this time, like this, there isn't a direct onness, but there's a bit of time. I believe that this has given Diamandi a little bit of time on the ball. And we're going to see the result of this is that incredibly dangerous from their perspective. Like, what should they do? Could they man mark him, push him up, get him on him? Or is it cool if he's a DM and sits back off him, doesn't immediately rush out, get skinned, and then leaves a bunch of space type thing? So there's a kind of a two ways of thinking. I think that sometimes you want to press someone because they're bad on the ball and they're going to release the ball quicker and worse, and cool, they're already bad at passing, so let's increase that badness. But then that will be the expense of leaving a really good player unmarked potentially type situation. So there's always a give and take of most strategies, and then you have to assess which of those strategies you're prepared to, what you're willing to give up. Okay? Hope that makes sense. You're assessing it, you're looking, but you have to look at each team individually. You can't look at formations and which formations beat which formations. It has to be, You see me in draft mode, and when we play competitive Football Manager, I'm not going to go if I'm playing against a team with Haaland, and they're playing Haaland as solo striker, you're not going to see me play with a back three and go with a solo defender against Haaland. I'll be asking for trouble. Unless, there's only a few centre backs in the game that you'd be willing to take that risk on. So you have to think of it like that. Is so different to if a team has two okay strikers that are not great. Okay, we might want to go man for man with them. We feel that's not going to be too bad, right? Where do we want to double up on players? What individuals do we want to make sure have no time? Which players do we not mind having a bit of time on the ball? And there has to be a blend of that. If you want to press everyone constantly all the time, you're going to get tired. You're going to have some issues. We've got Diamandi yellow card early, which leans me towards wanting to substitute him. We are going to consider subbing him, which is definitely doesn't help. Here, I'm worried about him being on a yellow. Under 21 goalkeeper signed. We've got him in. We've had goalkeeping injuries, so we're going to have to rely on this guy. Blast it, Diamandi, no red card, please. Here we go. Runs wide with the ball. Mazzala, run wide with the ball. We've got the underlap from Carrera, so he's in the box. and dangerous chance was created there, like a 0.4 xG chance, something like that. So Diamandi, despite being on his yellow, seems to be winning this battle right now. And we've got the Diamandi versus Mohamed strategies coming off here. We've got Mazzala to exploit the fact that this guy is going to be trying to take care of him. We've got Mohamed, look, stepping out here to deal with Diamandi. Look how far he is by the time he shoots. The man that's responsible for Diamandi is nowhere to be seen. And we believed that that was the strategy that was going to work prior to the game. That is a vision that we had in our head. Okay, this guy's great. Your best player is also great, but our best player is better than your best player. Let's not put in Mazzala. You're going to get dragged over to the right. That's going to create a lot of space. The anchor's here. The anchor's solidly on Bungard. We could have predicted Bungard not having too great a game, having an anchor just like around him permanently. But we could predict space being created for Diamandi on that side. Again, Mazzala is not a position you've seen me use a bunch. And again, when people ask me to do this tier list, do a tier list of player roles. It's like, I don't want to. And because I feel that will restrict people's thinking in terms of when you could use something, when something could be good versus when something will be always bad. Jebinson is not the best finisher, I'll tell you that. Do traits like play short price really feel ball playing defenders? I just don't like them. I don't want, especially, it's not going to be bad if a guy is not that great at passing anyway. It's probably going to suit him. But I really dislike it. Like, I've got Neil in my team, who is amazing. However, he has play short, simple passes, really stops him from bringing out, he's got good vision, good passing. It really stops him from bringing out some of his best attributes. So if you think of it like if you've got someone on your team who's crap at passing, you want them to pass it shorter, right? But if you've got someone who's great at passing, who always goes for the safe kind of easy pass, you're going to get annoyed by that. Okay. Bellin over here, he's on a card, not playing too great. Buchanan is kind of a makeshift winger who can sort of play right back. So I'm not against that. I don't want a red card. Speaking of Neil, we're going to bring Neil on. And then Diamandi, who's been so key in this game. I almost want to not take him off because he's been... I'm going to leave Diamandi and then I might regret it. I'd rather take off Jebinson, who has not been great. We've got Bungard, who's been the shadow striker. We can go to a bit more of a something that resembles a actual 4-3-3, even though I don't think this is going to make... He's got amazing crossing. I forgot about that. Okay, he's got amazing crossing. Get him on the crossing. No, not amazing crossing, 12 crossing. He's amazing at corners. I forgot that. FM Tactic Book. I really don't think what I'm saying in streams and stuff is going to translate too well to the written word. But I just try and drill home the fact that you're going to have to think about, like, people don't want to think about the opposition and ways, ideas that can combat certain things. And until someone wants to say, okay, I'm open my mind, I've analyzed their team and this thing might work. Okay, I tried it and it didn't work. Was that because I was unlucky, or was it because various other factors? Maybe I'll make a tweak. Maybe I'll make some changes to that and have a see. We're going to put Correa up front and Nelson on this wing. Neil on a yellow. Again, not incredible XG. They hit the crossbar there. So yeah, with tactics, think about their lineup. Think about what's going to happen. I think you need to, when you look at it, when you approach it, you have to look at what is the likely outcome of this situation. Is this, you're putting the smallest person on the pitch against the tallest person on the pitch. Crosses are coming into the box. What's going to happen? Okay. you've got the slowest player on the pitch against the fastest player on the pitch. What's going to happen? Nice change here. We put Bungard out wide to give him a bit of space. We realized that Anchor was just sitting on Bungard and he wasn't getting any time. We've put him out wider. We can click on the anchor here. The anchor's here. So the anchor's here and boom, steps out. Boom, punished. Give him a bit of space, give him a bit of time, and we've got a goal from a change. Again, these changes are kind of small, kind of tweaks, not going too much off originally what we thought was a good idea. We're not deviating drastically from what we believed was good or bad. We just cross more often, cut inside with the ball, dribble more. He's already got runs inside with the ball, so probably not needed to do that. Okay, dribbling. I don't think he needs to cross more often. So most of what I'm saying is kind of common sense, just normal things. Someone's good at crossing, make them cross more. Someone's not good at crossing, make them cross less. You can do that across the board. And then to think about matchups, think about visualizing what will happen in games. Do we have too many people taking risks with the ball? Too many people crossing and giving it away? Like this scenario, I feel like we've defended that well. We got the right players in the right area. Very unlike the Diamandi goal where Diamandi was left free. A lot of our players here were all over this situation. Goalkeeper's doing great. He might be able to justify his 425k, which is obviously an extreme overpay for a goalkeeper of that quality. Just in a league with really strict registration rules, you're going to have to do that at times. I mean, we've only produced 1.44 XG. I don't think 4-3-3 is the best tactic I could have used against this. I just was requested to make a 4-3-3 and make it work. And I feel that this is done fairly okay. Nothing groundbreaking. One thing you can note that we don't have much possession in this game. I think if he had a bit more quality in his team, the team was just... If we were of equal standards, I think we would have really struggled with this. But fairly close game that we've done well in, and I think that it's an okay tactic. I wouldn't say anything's too incredible about it. We got a little counter here. We'll see if we can deal with this. Nelson is our furthest player back. Okay. Interesting. Would have been a good opportunity for them if they continued the counter because we didn't have incredibly good defensive players here on the counter. And it isn't just about matchups. This is good. It isn't just about matchups. It's about what space is going to be created, what space is left. Can you afford to leave that space? Do you need to leave a player alone to make sure you're marking the space he runs into? Things like that. Things you consider. This has been a fairly even game, and I'd say we're fortunate to come out of this one with a nice win. Our strikers didn't do too good. We wasn't exactly clinical, but we didn't create bundles of stuff. I mean, they've hit the crossbar twice, so Neil's trying to get sent off. But yeah, game GG. Okay experiment. Nothing groundbreaking there. Nothing where we could say, wow, we made something super incredible here. But it was a small sample size, and yeah, we like to change our tactic a lot. Let's look at Ottawa now. Moving on. Moving on to Ottawa. We'll go to tactics. Often I look at the manager and check things, but we'll look at this. We're looking at a 4-2-3-1. We're going to look at very dangerous players, not so dangerous fullback, not the quickest centre back. We're definitely going to do pass ball into space. I think that might be something that Jebinson will benefit from. Looking at two central midfielders here, very, very good central midfielder. Okay, not so good. 4 pace, 4 acceleration. Now, I'm not saying they definitely will start this guy, but if they do start this guy, that will be something we look to target. So immediately I've seen the fullback's not great. So we are going to do a 4-2-3-1 customized to make sure that the fullback is, it's going to look something like this. It's going to look something like this. We'll wait for game day before we commit to anything because we want to know exactly who they're playing, but it will be something like that. If they've got a really not dangerous, I'm not saying this particularly well, but if they don't have a really dangerous DM and a really weak fullback, we're happy to leave them guys alone. Also, we're willing to put a really quick player on the really slow player and see what happens with that. Yeah. So when we say about make a video, I don't know, I was thinking about doing like a Tactic 101 video where we talk about main things, but the problem is when something becomes complex and so niche, okay, Mazatlan, 725k, we're happy with that. That's going to help us out with some funds for the future. I like to try and accumulate roughly around 2 million in profit in sales per year, so we can spend around 2 million in loan signings. It's kind of weird, not something I would do in a normal save, but because of the restrictive nature of Canada's rules, I don't mind so much. Loans become extremely powerful, and you're limited on the Canadian signings, match practice, match tactics. Sure, I don't mind. Not going to get too fussy with training. 12.5k, bargain. You've got a bargain, guys. I'd rather sell him and him be happy than keep him and him be unhappy. There might be a time down the line when I'm like, oh, I need an extra backup defender. That's why I signed him. But we've got a lot of versatile players in the squad. A lot of players that can play multiple positions. So we can work with a smaller squad than most, which is cool. That's what you want. If you can pay less players to do the job of more, the only problem is if we get some injuries, we're going to struggle. Goodman, when's he coming back? 12 days, potential for 12 days. So we're looking at this tactic right now, and we're just waiting to see their final 11. One of my big mistakes was I would keep setting up my tactic thinking that's the squad I'm going to play against. You don't know what squad you're going to play against until game day. Some of these players are in from the last game, or the AI being silly, or if you're playing against real players, maybe some people just messing around, messing with you. That happens less frequent, but it can happen. I've got to play people that set up their tactic. I think I'm playing against one thing. I load in and they immediately change it, which is cool. But then that means I have to change it straight away again, which is annoying. But I will change it always because I just like to dictate where my players are going to be in relation to theirs. That's the kind of key part of it. We're getting closer to game day. We're going to analyze their team, and we're going to look at what areas we can target and why, and what we can give up to gain. That's the mentality of assessing the opposition. Yeah, you look at a team. Imagine you're playing 11 aside. You look at the team. Team rolls up. Their striker looks deadly. They look like they got a little tasty winger. You're like, okay. You immediately identify these things are going to be problems to us. Okay, let's think about what we're going to do to solve these problems, and then what we can do to kind of flourish as well. Yeah, you can fight against their strengths. Yeah, but there's another comment that I get quite frequently that's like, this team I'm playing against has no negatives. I'm like, wow, what level have you got to of the game where your opposition has no negatives? Because even Bayern Munich have some defenders that are not great at passing. There's a few midfielders that might not be able to carry the ball as well. There's some pace issues in the striking area that you might be able to restrict. You might, like, I remember we played against Limo in a tournament and he had Giroud. And I noticed that he had him as a deep lying forward. And that a lot of the problems would come along from the centre-back chasing him. So instead of that, we just played effectively an anchor on the right who dealt with Giroud. And then we still had our two defenders against the other striker, but we were like, okay, we need an anchor who's going to stop him from dropping off and dropping into the space, picking up the ball. He's too dangerous. I appreciate your nice comments. Thank you. I needed that nice comment. Thanks. So yeah, I don't want to say like think of it like you're a real manager, but one thing you will notice about streamers and a lot of Football Manager players is this is something they don't even consider. It baffles me. The biggest thing that I would watch Football Manager and think is they look at the opposition team and think, I'm not going to change anything. So let's have a little look. This is a guy we're going to leave alone. Doesn't look very dangerous to me. That acceleration isn't going to hurt us. We're going to probably leave him alone. Let's look at this side. Equally, I'd say non-threatening, would you? I don't know if this guy's really going to hurt us. I would say. It's making me think about going narrow. Now this, arguably best player. Great DM, particularly defensive. Defending wise. This guy, garbage. This is terrible player. 4 pace, 4 acceleration. Definitely got to be one of the worst players in the league. Good tackling, but that's it. All right, so we're really going to target this side here. Really going to target the right side at the expense of the left. We're going to look to abuse this. Okay? Whoever plays as our kind of central number 10 isn't going to have a great game against Kane, but these guys are going to have a field day with this. Let's look at Burns. No pace. Okay. No pace. Strong players here. Number 10. Okay, lovely. Number 10, not a threat to us. We're going to stack this up. What side was it we said we were going to smash? This side, right side. So all right side focus this game. Because we know that this guy's going to have a tougher time than most, we're going to get our best player there. And then we're going to have a field day down the right. Field day down the right-hand side. And we are going to focus that right-hand side like this. Underlap on the left, potentially. It doesn't make as much sense with no one, given the width. Most players don't want to check every opponent. I know that is a issue. It's not every player. Like, you get to learn these players as well in the league. I'll watch streamers check every player when they're scouting for a player. They'll check every single one when they're looking to buy someone, but they won't check an opposition players to see the danger, which is interesting to me. Okay, let's think about happiness. Unfortunately, we're going to have to keep playing Juilliard, despite him not playing well. We want to keep him happy. We could obviously say you're not playing because you're not playing well, but okay. So we're going to focus this right-hand side a little bit. We're going to give them something to think about in the middle. Kane, Diamandi is still a bad matchup for Diamandi, but it's not exactly the dream matchup for Kane either. Jebinson has been playing bad, but we're going to do pass ball into space this time, mostly because of their lack of pace in defense. We're hoping that we're going to play some through balls into this guy and he's going to get onto them. Makeshift left back. We could just play Sandra as the proper left back this game and then Brout on the right because, yeah. Okay, different this time. This guy is not going to stay wider, but he's not going to sit narrow. And he's not going to cross more often. He's going to dribble more, take more risks. He runs with the ball through the center anyway. Okay, we've got these guys set up. Double Volantes. Let's get Pobega as the Volante. He's got a bit of a long shot. We can get him into the box, get him into this space. We know there's going to be space there. We're going to have Regista. The reason I like Regista is we're going to have a playmaker on our right. We're focusing the play down the right. He's going to get more of the ball than most. Maybe not make him get further forward. A bit unnecessary. Bungard, Shadow Striker, reasonable left foot. Is he left-footed? Cuts inside from the right wing. Let's get him on the right here. Let's make sure. Sit narrower, sure. We're going to have an overlap on the right. He's going to have not cross more often. He's going to take more risks and don't necessarily need him to roam from position. We're going to have tackle harder, roam from position, and he dribbles more. He does all that stuff. Diamandi is going to tackle harder, not necessarily roam from position. Don't think there's much need for that. I forget what his crossing is. Not cross more often. And then Jebinson here, we're going to play through balls, and this looks great for me. We're going to have the overlap on the right, focus play down the right. On the left, this guy's going to be cutting in. I think Diamandi can actually stay wider, just give us something on that side. We don't want to be completely just here on the right, but all this looks good to me. Bellanova, again, will probably come on for Brout, and this looks like a good setup. So we're targeting both the fullbacks are weaker, so we don't mind leaving the right back alone. And then we're fully overloading their really slow number 6, who looks somewhat decent defensively, but pace is probably one of the best attributes you want as a defender, along with some positioning, along with some marking. But because we believe that he's going to be completely overwhelmed, there's 2 options. We could choose to overwhelm the other side and then leave them solo because it's still going to be deadly. But we're going to just look to punish this area, this quadrant of the pitch that we believe is a lot weaker than others. And then we're not extremely scared of other things. We are extremely scared of this winger, but we're playing Sandra as our left back. We're hoping Sandra will be able to deal with him. That might become a miscalculation by the time the actual game comes around. We'll be like, ooh, Sandra and him is probably not ideal, but we'll look to deal with it. We'll bring Bellanova on if we're struggling and switch him around or something like that. Looks good to me. I like Buchanan. Russell Rose come back from fitness. He'll go straight in the starting team, given Jebinson's performances. We are hopeful of a Jebinson goal this game. We're playing the ball into space. We're looking to make some through balls for him. We've got 3 really good number 10/wingers. So we're looking to create some chances in that way, play some through balls. Play some balls into space. We're hoping that their defenders are not quick enough to kind of track these through balls to be able to turn and chase them. But yeah, we're playing against a good tactic with some good attacking threats from the opposition. Wow. Good attacking potential threats from the opposition. And yeah, we just don't believe their defense outside of Kane is really capable of stopping us, especially with focusing down this right hand side. You're going to see a lot of right hand side highlights. Bungard left footed, goes back to the Regista. Regista goes back to the ball playing defender, finds the inverted winger, very focused on this right hand side, comes in, finds Diamandi, Sandra free again, cross into the box, not bad. Pobega, cut out by Mariba, who's quality. Pass ball into space. Pobega, the Volante, what a volley. The Regista here on the right-hand side. Mariba is obviously going to get a lot of the ball. Clearance. Mariba wins a header. Boom. Mariba wins the ball again. Mariba finds the Volante making a run. And then a beautiful volley from Pobega, who so dangerous in that Volante on attack roll. He gets into these really dangerous shooting, scoring positions, and then that is Kane. Technically, you would have to deal with him, so that's already a kind of -1 for Kane in this game. Their better defensive player is supposed to be dealing with him and is not able to. So even in their shouldn't this theoretically open up the left hand side? Yes, you did see Sandra getting a bit of the ball, but look at us all congested here on this right hand side. when the ball goes over there, I don't have as much fear of stuff happening. On the left-hand side, we're going to be somewhat vulnerable, but again, we've taken this to them, and we're seeing the... Again, you're asking me how to beat a 4-2-3-1. Well, this is a 4-2-3-1 with not very good defenders and only a good DM. So, very different. But you are seeing a little bit more of a pass ball into space. Not something I do mandatory every game, but something I felt was reasonable this game. Like bait and switch. Yeah, you drag everyone to the right side, frees up your left-hand side player. You see that did happen with Sandra in this case. But again, you're seeing everything go down this right-hand side. You're seeing us look for these through balls with a pass ball into space. Fall off the crossbar there. Tried to convert the header. Couldn't quite make it. I've noted many times Jebinson, not the best in the air. I prefer a striker better in the air. Jebinson's just too good a Canadian to not have, even though he plays badly. We talked a bit about this. Freeing upside on the left. We've got Sandra as our left back. He's obviously very good. Offensively, maybe not the best defensively, but because of this space freeing up, everyone's grouped over to the left here, over to the right. There's literally 0 players in this space. I'm pointing to an area that you can't tell, but near my camera, all this space that was created, there was no one we had running into that space, but we did have Sandra there for a goal scoring opportunity. Hi Fletch, been watching How to Play Again series. Really, really great work. Oh, thank you so much. Nice of you. Everyone's so nice in my Twitch. I see other people's Twitches. I watch some streamers. Obviously, people are different, have different vibes and whatnot. You get some really toxic chats in some places and maybe not so much positive feedback. I know that's dependent on the personality of the person who streams and the type of game it is and whatnot. The feedback I get is amazing. Do you think you'll get time to do other formations such as 4-2-3-1? I'm doing a 4-2-3-1 right now. But I fear that my series will become competitive and I'll just be beating the same drum, talking about the same process again and again of... I want to make a series of stop thinking about the opposition's formation and think about the opposition's players. That's what probably the video that I would make next will probably something along them lines. That description will be something like, I know I said to focus on formation, but kind of the opposite things happened than I wanted, that people are like, this formation's good against this formation. And that's kind of not what I wanted. What I wanted was like, this setup is great against this opponent's lineup right now. Which is what you're seeing here. I'm not saying it's working 1,000,000%. You can see we're forcing it a bit too much down the right-hand side now. We would hope to expand down this left. You can see the kind of forced thing that's happening right now where we're kind of overdoing it down the right. Yeah, we've just seen good evidence of what happens when you kind of overcook it. So we're just going to do left and right, okay? And we just do this, left and right, do this. Just a slight bit more balance. You can see, yes, it was working to an extent. You can see where it wasn't working, getting a bit congested, a bit much. We're thinking that the lack of pace in key areas is also something that we can take advantage of. It doesn't have to be fully abusing the right-hand side. It can be a bit of... Let's get a mixture now of left and right. We are, if it was working flawlessly, we'd never change it. We're just seeing a little bit. We see a couple of passages of play where it was clear we should have gone down the left, but we went down the right because they're being told to. Good opportunity came there. And maybe not, I wouldn't say becoming predictable. We don't know how much players adjust in the match engine. But we're thinking that there are other areas. We don't have to exploit the kind of one area. Another great goal. We got Jebinson. Pass ball into space has worked here. We can see the yard of pace difference. We got Jebinson who's like 15-15 pace acceleration against centre-backs who are not. We've got ball playing centre-backs and Mariba again pulling the strings. Regista finds this pass. That little burst of pace, that bit of acceleration that just gives him the space to get past the defender. We predicted a positive game for Jebinson. We expected a goal. We expected him to do something good. We expected to see him breezing past these defenders because we were aware of the pace mismatch. So we were looking to capitalize that. And the simple thing we did was make a reducer and make a pass ball into space. They were two things that we felt that this team couldn't combat. So instead of thinking of it as how to beat a 4-2-3-1, thank you so much for the raid. I'm kind of sad in the timing of this raid. Not because I'm leaving, I'm going to stay streaming for a little while, but I was making such a good point about tactics, and I feel like the people that were watching previously would not enjoy if I did that again. So thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. But the point that we were going over, I'll go over it briefly, was more about not thinking of how to beat a 4-2-3-1 and how to beat certain formations. It's more to focus on what is most likely going to happen. What are the outcomes? Thank you so much. Really appreciate the stream. Means a lot because I haven't streamed in quite a while, so thank you. Anyone that's new here, really appreciate any of the follows that I get. Really appreciate you for hanging around. Mostly talking about how to beat individual teams. If you want to learn how to beat teams based on their lineups and how they're set up, more so than making just a good tactic. For those who don't watch me normally, watch me stream, I change my formation every game pretty much. Change my strategy, make little tweaks. There's never really a time where I make a formation, make a tactic, and then run it for 2 games in a row. Very rare, and we're going to see how I look to areas I look to exploit based on the opposition team, opposition players that are set up. We noticed that we were doing well down the right-hand side, but also would be more balanced if we went right and left. We got a couple early goals from focusing on the right, but the team appeared to adjust a little bit. They either adjusted or we were forcing it a bit much down the right-hand side where it was becoming congested and too predictable and the people on the left weren't doing too good. But we can see it's opened up now and our left wing back is destroying because of this setup. We're looking to target and overwhelm their better of their defensive midfielders, but also the fact that they've got a lack of pace in the back line. Looking at some pass balls into space, getting some through balls that have worked out. We can think about resting players and getting some under 21 minute players on the pitch now. Juilliard did well as predicted on the right hand side. Mariba's become almost so essential that we want to protect him. This is the Canadian Premier League, by the way. Yes, I'm aware this is an insane team for Canadian Premier League. This guy's so bad, but he's under 18 and maybe he's almost too bad. Maybe this. So we're looking at just grabbing some under 21 minutes right now. Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate that. We were just saying before you guys arrived how positive and how nice my chat is compared to a lot of other streamers. We could bring on Russell Rowe to get him back to full fitness. Maybe Jebinson's actually having a good game for once and his pace seems to be really working in this situation. So I kind of like to continue that. Ottawa are a really good side in this league. They just lack a bit of quality in defence. I don't think they've got their first team fullbacks out. And because teams have to play under 21 minute Canadians, they've had to acquire and play some under 21 Canadians who are really not great. One super fun thing about this league is you can clearly see weaknesses in oppositions because they have to play under 21 Canadians who are not anywhere near the caliber of some of the other guys. So that's areas you can target or look at or look to leave and target other areas. I always talk about leaving players that are really bad that are in a team. You might want to completely leave them and vacate the space that they occupy and let them have as much of the ball and much time as you want in the view to double up on some other good players. But this was a good one. This was a good strategy, worked really well. We dealt with all their problems outside of the goal well, which came from, I think, a throw-in, but Sandra had a great game as left back with 2 goals. I'm not saying we predicted that, but I'm saying that we didn't rule that out of a possibility of something that could happen, given someone mentioned in the chat. Who mentioned in the chat that we were going to get a lot of space on the left-hand side because of the focus on the right? It was going to become everyone groups over to the right, leaves Sandra a little bit, who was our only left-sided player, and he happened to get 2 goals from left back, which is nice to see. He's a converted midfielder into a left back, something you're going to see from watching this stream, watching me consistently play players out of position, considering matchups and thinking about if a better profile player is going to do well in a certain position, if that makes sense. Like having a midfielder play as a left back who's going to get into these dangerous shooting positions. Okay, new team, new game. Let's have a look at how they play. Opposition instructions. First thing we do, they're playing with a very narrow. Okay, this might be your time. They're playing with a very narrow 4-2-3-1. We look at their striker. Oi, 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 oi. Very nice. Canadian, American striker. Rapid, can dribble. Very cool. I like Bunbury. Decent for this level. John Campbell, maybe not the best. Looks like dangerous. Bones, you did this one, huh? Looks good. For those who are not sure what Bones is saying my team because I handed over a lot of my opposition teams to let them set up the tactics and let them sign players for their team. Obviously not the quickest centre-back, so again, we're going to look to just play Jebinson. So we can work back to front. I'll show you how I do this. Kind of easy. We're looking back to front. And if you don't mind, we haven't brought up the tactic board this stream whatsoever. So we'll do a little tactic board. By the way, I want to say this randomly. Yesterday, I had Senegalese food at a restaurant. Has anyone had Senegalese food before? Has anyone had... My question to you guys, has anyone had Senegalese food? Very interested to know if anyone's tried it. I wanted to try some cuisine, some food that I've never tried before. And yesterday we decided we want to try something that I've never tried before. And let's have a look. All right. Okay, let's put this team in the positions that they're in. Okay, so we got a 4-2-3-1 here. How was it? It was amazing. It was amazing. Let me see if I can find the dish that I had. Senegalese food. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but let's see if I can find what it looked like. It was like a lamb plate. It looked almost like this. This is what it was, yeah. Dibby or something like this. And it's like plate of kind of lamb with onions, like an onion sauce. Had jollof rice and it was like this. They have it in a bag. Like they have it on tinfoil. They wrap it up in a ball of tinfoil and then you open it up, put it on the table. It's like this. Oniony, but this is lamb. This is what it looks like. And it was pretty good. Had that with the rice and whatnot. Was super good. So we're looking at this team. They got the 4-2-3-1 here. Very fast striker. So we can build back to front if you want. You can do it whichever way you want. But we'll build back to front. What do you mean you don't share your screen? Oh, was it not shared? Ah. Let me see if I can change that. Damn it. Got it on window. All right, I can't show you that. Oh, I need to show you this tactic board. I wonder why it wasn't showing. I would bring this up to show you, to ask how I do it, but I can't remember. Obviously, when you don't stream in a while and you come back and then your whole setup's not correct. But I'm glad you mentioned that before I did it. I want display capture. Yeah, that's what I want. Display capture. Nope. My bad. Okay. I got it. My bad. All right. This is the food. This is what it looks like. Plate of lamb with onions. It looks good. Yeah, we had that with some rice and some plantains. And yeah, this is Senegalese food. Look cool. And yeah, delicious. Tactic board. My bad. Okay. So we got the tactic board. We got the narrow 4-2-3-1 here. Now, there's a couple of options, right? These are how I see my options. One can assume that because they've got a narrow 3, they're going to have wide attacking fullbacks. Okay? You might think we might not see the food. Oh, man. Okay, these are the options that I see. We can have narrow fullbacks and a single pivot. And that's what's going to deal with this. Narrow fullback, single pivot. Or we can have wide fullbacks like this and go with this situation. So we're going to have these guys free. These guys matched up. The wing backs unable to be dealt with. We can tuck these guys in. We can have a striker like this. We can have this. These guys are going to have to engage. These guys go out here. Or we can go with the double pivot. We can have these guys kind of helping, kind of doubling up, match up with them, have these guys go wide. So we got a few options to consider. Now, what makes me decide on which way to go? Attacker here, not exactly mega dangerous. Attacker here, not exactly mega dangerous. Can we have 2 defensive midfielders and 2 really attacking wing backs deal with this? And I think the answer is yes. Now, if these guys were all incredible, we'd at least want to get some pivot situation, some double pivot, some triple pivot, or you could call it single pivot if you wanted to deal with that. However, what we're going to do is realize that our wing backs are going to have shit ton of time on the ball. They're going to be able to get in these really advanced areas before anyone can get to them. And we're going to kind of rely on our 4-man defense. Okay, we're going to rely on our 4-man defense, which is these 4, to deal with them 4. And I think that because of the quality of these 4, we can do that well. Now, we're going to go with Bellanova because we really want to push the quality of this left and right. We're going to overlap left and right. We're going to distribute to fullbacks. We're going to distribute to fullbacks. We're going to roll it out and then get the fullbacks on the ball as much as possible. We want these guys as attacking as possible. They're going to have to help defensively at some point. But again, stay wider. We're going to rely on our midfielders to deal with the 10s. We're going to have stay wider, dribble more, take more risks. Sounds good to me. On the right side, cross more often, stay wider, run with the ball, dribble more. Good stuff. Stuff that suits Bellanova. We're looking to unleash these fullbacks against the narrow midfield, stretch the play a bit. When we play out from the back, we'll have these wing backs here. We'll have our guys in the middle, but the ball will eventually focus to these guys. Boom, boom. We'll have our striker here, wingers here, winger here. So pretty standard, but with a bit more of a focus on making sure these wing backs on attack are going to get the ball. We'll have these guys on support, dropping into the space, both of them. Both of them here on support, dropping in. We'll do Carrera in the middle. Carrera out wide because he's right-footed. We'll get him coming in, taking on the forward, cross less often, he can't cross. Take more risk, not mandatory on Carrera. He hasn't got insane passing or vision. Both these guys are going to drop into the space. Pobega on Volante again. Diamandi as the shadow striker. Does he need anything special for him? Run from position, tackle harder. Run from position makes sense. We've got this. We're going to still do pass ball into the space to capitalize on the slightly slower defense. I believe that was... I might be getting confused between this game and the last game, but I was thinking that they had slower defenders. Let's look at their DMs. Nothing insanely noteworthy. Dangerous player, Bunbury, dangerous player, striker. We could drop our defensive line if we wanted to, just one. We'll maybe see how dangerous that fast striker is. But for now, this seems good. Check the player happiness. Juilliard is not having the best time. He's going to get upset about playing time, but we want to fully capitalize using our good fullbacks. We know that our fullbacks are going to get the ball a good amount. We put them both on stay wider. We're kind of doing a similar strategy to what they're doing, which is they're going to have their fullbacks pushed up. We're going to have our guys narrower too. But we think that our space that we're going to have for our wingbacks is going to be more than theirs. And that ours are going to be more effective and more dangerous. And we're taking a risk. The risk is we're allowing our 2 6s to have to deal with their 3 10s. Okay, like this. Our 2 6s are going to have to deal with their 3 10s in this situation. But we think that we can defend this. We think that they can't defend this. We think that this is going to be an undefendable situation, especially when their fullbacks, especially when their wingbacks have to step out to deal with our wingbacks. Is everyone clued up about this plan? Is anyone reading in the chat right now? Anyone listening in the chat right now that's going, what the hell are you on about? Because if there is, I would like to be able to explain it. This injury is really inconvenient, particularly as we've got we're playing against a quick striker. Neil is not going to be as quick to deal with this. So Bombito's still injured. It leaves us no options. So Neil is going to be the centre back, 12 pace, 12 acceleration, not ideal. Okello 14 pace, bit more capable. But this does immediately make me do this. Okay. I'm going to drop the line just one more because the striker's so fast. Fletch, is the 310s, if the 310s were super players, would you go triple pivot? Yeah, I do one of 2 options. It would be a triple pivot or it would be narrow wing backs, right? So say these guys were deadly, all 3 of them. What I would do is either this, make these guys come narrow like this. It would be this situation, a 5v4. 5v4, do this kind of thing. Yeah. Or it would be a triple pivot situation where I drop these guys like this. This would be the ultimate respect version because we've really got extra defenders in here. But all of them options. I've got nothing but love for the Segundo Vandy Regista combo. How often you recommend it for my own team? Tactical while back. I see everyone loves the DM Volante or 2 Volantes, and it wasn't necessarily me thinking that would work more. I didn't have this idea like, oh, the Regista and Volante combo is going to be way better. It was more of, I like the Regista. It sounds cool. Yeah, double DMs would be another option. See, this is the thing. When I'm doing these streams and when I'm talking about things this way, you're giving me the answers because I'm leading you down the path of correct answers. And this is the kind of thing that I love. Is you said the 2 DM option. Exactly. 2 DMs. Cool. If we're struggling in this game or it doesn't look good, we've got so many options. We can go triple pivot, we can go double DMs, or we can do narrow fullbacks. I'm not saying any one of these is the right answer. I've picked an option. But what I like is that we've come to the conclusion that there's 4 respectable options. We've got 4 respectable options to deal with these problems. I'm weighting my decision a bit more in favor of us still being good offensively. So I've come to the conclusion that these guys as wing backs will be super deadly. And then we can still get something like this going. Seems a bit more favorable attacking wise. Because we're disrespecting their number 10s. If we had full respect for their number 10s, we'd do a different thing. Hey, I love to see Club America getting knocked out. Bit of Schadenfreude for me there. Love to see Club America getting knocked out by someone. Do you know that any super hard challenge that would make it fun to play the way I play now, it's optimal, not super easy? I would love to play the same way I played in PvP, but against AI, would just stomp them. Gotta play PvP then. Or make a challenge so hard for yourself that try and win the Champions League with a Canadian team. I dare you. Try and load up a save with a Canadian team and try and win the Champions League. I want to see that one. For anyone that's like, oh, Football Manager's so easy. Oh, I stomped the AI, I beat the AI. Try beat Club America when you're Pacific FC. It is not as easy as you might think. Okello, little injury here, mega annoying. We don't even have a kind of respectable centre-back who can deal with this. Adds to the complications and adds to the potential success of this. I think I'm going to go Pobega as the ball-playing defender to make sure we've got the quality in the team. We'll still go with the Volante, but this time it's going to be the Aiden kid. Aiden kid. We can do Aiden kid on defensive midfielder, and we start a bit more cautiously than normal. So we're going to go Aiden kid, defensive midfielder. He looks amazing. Still looks like a playmaker. Still looks like he could be the regista, but we'll do the Aiden kid and we'll put Pobega as the centre-back. I don't love Pobega as a centre-back in a back two, but still decent. So yeah, I know I waffled there and rambled. Obviously, that's what I do. But yeah, when everyone says, oh, Football Manager's so easy, please, someone be a Canadian team and win the Champions League with a Canadian team. Now you're talking about a different difficulty level of a game. You have to balance the amount of Canadians you have, the under 21 Canadians. You need to be able to attract the quality of player you need to. There's a very specific way that's hard to acquire these top players for Canada and requires very good timing and scouting and being aware of who's available and what specific windows you can get those players in. And then even once you've accumulated all them players, you're still way off the standard of the Mexican teams. So you then still need to be able to beat them tactically, which becomes very tricky. You're allowing a lot of RNG with it coming down to just knockout games, and you have to be the better of them two legs. You then have to have as good a quality side with backups while keeping players happy in the squad. It now becomes a different difficulty level of the game. I challenge anyone to do this. People have given me other challenges, like you should turn the worst side in England to the best side of England. I don't see any difficulty in that. The reason I don't see any difficulty in that is you have a path of progression that is uncapped. You have a path of progression that's, okay, you get players, you get better, you get players, you get better, you get players, you get better. There's a cap in the Canadian League. You can only have as good a Canadians as you can get. You can only have as good a foreign players who are willing to play in the Canadian League. You're never going to be able to build a team that's better than the people that you're playing. You're never going to show me a lineup of a Canadian team and you're going to say, wow, that team's better than Club America. I think I've built one of the sickest, like Brazilian Fury knows because he played in this league. When I show Brazilian Fury this team, Fury, how sick is this team for Canadian standards? And then my second question is, how far still am I behind Club America? How many things went well for me to be able to get this side? How many players got released that were fortunate, like Russell Rowe, or having the opportunity to sign Okello when I did, or the amount of the amount of times I acquired a player like Mariba become available, but there was a lot of competition for him and he just so happened to choose us. In someone else's save, you will not be getting Mariba and Diamandi. So many things have to fall in our favour, and then we're still 10 miles behind Club America. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. When I signed Diamandi, I'm like, yes, I've got a chance. And we did even worse with him than without him, kind of, in ways. And it's like, okay, there's a level. They've got a guy I signed for a Premier League team. Let's just, because we've talked a lot about Club America and people may not be aware of like the actual kind of players they've got. Diamandi was injured for that whole season. Yeah, he was. But I think he was back for the Club America game, if I'm certain of it. Look at the guy who's performing best. Look at the best performer in the Mexican League currently. So have a look at their team. And they've got... Why have this? Who's allowed? What other teams have allowed them to be able to have this player as their striker? I mean, why is this a thing? Why have they got him for free from Feyenoord is beyond me. I mean, how much better this guy is than all of my players. Luckily, Saudi teams want him, so I might not have to play against him again. But the guy's absolutely deadly. We signed him for Leeds in one save. The quality level between us and them. I mean, this guy gets into our team all day, every day, and he's not even a starter for them. So, yes, that's the kind of level that we have to deal with and have to overcome. So I challenge anyone. And if Club America improve at the rate that they have in my save, okay, they're playing triple shadow striker, 2 DMs, 2 fullbacks. I assume they're going to be overlapping. We're going to be overlapping too. More than 5 foreigners. Okay, simple. We just do Brout. He needs the game time. And we can bring on Bellanova a little bit later. All right, here we go. Yeah, the guy that went to AC Milan, yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you want to do this challenge, you want to do something real hard challenge. Be a Canadian team. Try and win the North American Champions League with a Canadian team. The cap that you have is going to prevent you from being able to snowball and beat teams. Even if you want to win the Champions League with an Italian team, a Spanish team, maybe not so much French, but any of the top threes, this is somewhat achievable. You're not capped. You have a path to victory. You have a path to acquiring players. It might take time. Time is not in your favor in Canada. Time is against you because the Canadians that come through are not as good as the Canadians that have done. They haven't got incredible youth recruitment. They're not producing these youngsters at a rate that they should. And then even if they did, you can't get them. You're a low reputation Canadian team. Even if you're trying to win the Champions League with like a Dutch team, becomes quite tricky because you've got the reputation issues to deal with. You're somewhat capped. Players are going to want to leave. You're going to have this turnover. You have them same problems in Canada, but you also have the same extra problems with, is this Romero? This Romero is good, no? Yeah. Okay, little miscalculation here because I haven't seen Romero. Buchanan is going to have to deal with Romero. Romero's on the right-hand side, which would be our other winger. So we're going to put our better defensive winger on the left-hand side. Still same situation, same roles, but he's much better defensively. Bit more tackling, bit more work rate, stuff like that. We could fully switch him down to a defensive winger. I think that might be a bit much. Something we might do if we were winning with 10 minutes left. but not something we're going to do level. But yeah, I just see Romero there. That was an oversight. Pobega with a header. Buchanan plays it down the line. Ambitious. It's getting late here, so I'm going to head out. Good to see you back streaming. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who turned up today. Really appreciate it. Hopefully I can start streaming some more and making some more content and doing some things. I'm one of the few people that are not sick of the game because I haven't overplayed it, and I've still got some fun challenges, fun things I want to complete. Main one being this. And also I'm happy to keep going over my kind of different approach of how to approach these things. DMs don't look like they're having the best time ever. We didn't expect them to have the best time ever. They've got a lot to deal with. The two goals we've conceded on stream have both been throw-ins. So we got a throw-in here. Chased down by the DM. This is a big problem. Like, why is our DM here? Big problem. Big problem. So we might have overcooked the fact that we've just got these two DMs. We could think about bringing our fullbacks more narrow, so we're not going to get overwhelmed there, or maybe one of them narrow and one of them overlapping seems a reasonable adjustment, but we'll give it a minute. It's only 20 minutes, and we've got a long-range goal from a corner, so we're not going to cry too much. Empty stand, empty header. Not good, but we're catching up in XG. Romero on the right, on the left. Him more defensive. The guys are thriving. Their number 10s are thriving from this, so something we'll look at changing. 2, we got 3 here. We're gonna get him. We'd have to fully pushed up at 2, 5, 3. Can kind of see where that's not going too good. And we're not just blaming RNG. We're not just blaming certain things. We know that we took a risk by this. We knew the negatives, and the negatives are becoming apparent. And then we've got two choices. That's to change them or to leave it. So if it continues to not look great, we'll change it. We've got no one dealing with this. Yep, you got back. Done well. Again, we've got a little skill issue. Skill issue in terms of our centre backs. This is the point where we're going to struggle. We've done well. That's awful. What a save. That was awful. Well, we defended well, made a huge error, and then made a great save. It's being dragged out. Boom. 2 players. Should deal with it. Nice early pass. Good one too. Kind of want to avoid attacking down this left because Romero's an issue. Want to avoid attacking down the left, attack down the right, but we don't want to leave him alone. Don't want to leave him alone, so we don't want to leave him alone. So we just go here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Bit of a quality. Let's go for a quality upgrade. Neil's on a yellow. Very not ideal. Phillips, I didn't want to play him at all. Okello was injured, right? Young for Neil. This is playing. I'm effectively playing with no centre backs. Got a wing back, a central midfielder, and a central midfielder in defence. Okay. Slight tweaks, slightly more aggressive. Slight tweaks, slightly more aggressive. Bit of a change of a game plan. Quality upgrade. Get a better wing back who's faster, who's just better player to exploit that right hand side more. Another thing that might be somewhat concerning is we might not have to do this. This might be a bit much. But there we go. Little changes. See if we can get ourselves back into this. A lot of danger through the centre. Young's done well. His first notable action of the game that we've witnessed. Dangerous in the middle. Bellanova finds Carrera. Nice ball. Bit different from the balls you see from Brout. This is nice link up. Nice combination here. Glad he hit the post. We got the warning without the punishment. So we will have to reconsider what we're doing. They're getting a lot of chances. Good tactic. Boom, boom, boom. We can push it. We need a goal, so no point. We're focusing left and right anyway. Fairly narrow. We can go a bit wide. I don't want to go wider. I've realised maybe we want to be a bit more compact when we don't have the ball, right? This is in possession. Out of position. There's no width. I think that's reasonable. People say, hey, it's out of position, in possession, so why do you care? You're not going to do that out of position. Well, if we're in possession and the players are wide and we lose the ball, to get more compact takes more time. Okay. Bad half. Our gamble has not paid off. Give them a bit of stick at half time and look to see if we can get back into this one. Buchanan here, Romero on the right hand side. We can tend to focus a bit more down the left, but Jebinson finally scores a header. Please note that this goal came about from the shadow striker that we moved from a 10 and put him a bit more on the right-hand side. So he was freer than he would have been if he was dead in the center. We kind of offset him to target their DM and got a goal from that. So again, we have a plan going into it, but the plan isn't final and we don't be stubborn and stick with our plan. We look and realize, oh, this is what we kind of misinterpreted. We kind of overvalued, undervalued, or maybe there's some things we didn't consider. We still got a whole game where we can change. It's never too late to change it, and we can get back in it. Well, the reason he's having a higher match rating is because he's dealing with the two DMs are dealing with a 10. I've moved the 10. I moved the 10 to a guy, so he's having to deal with him solo, right? And then we got Bellanova's quality coming on and making a difference. Just a much better player than Brout Juilliard. So the thinking of that was, this guy's got a high match rating because he's scored a goal. He's scored a goal. He's doing well. Okay? But him and his buddy are teaming up on Diamandi, and Diamandi's not getting involved. So by moving Diamandi to the right a little, we now are having Diamandi one-on-one versus this guy is a different thing that he's having to... a different situation that he's having to deal with. He's not getting to have the privilege of him and his buddy both doing a job. He's having the now horrible time of having to deal with Diamandi. I'm forcing that player to be 1v1. They're not going to make a change that is going to make that not the case. And Diamandi is a little hack to put him on a player that we feel we want him 1v1 versus someone. We don't want him doubled up on, because unless it's for a really good reason. Aiden. We got a few injuries as well that's stopping this from being incredible. We can't even sub this tired player who's not performing. We can't even sub Mariba, who's tired, because lack of options. We don't want to bring on a defensive midfielder. We can't really bring on Russell Rowe. We can bring on Bungard for Buchanan and then switch these boys back. That is going to give Romero a little bit of time, but Carrera's not exactly horrible defensively. Yeah. Performance ratings are obviously inflated for certain reasons. If a guy's not scored a goal or got an assist and he's got super high match rating, you can imagine he's winning all of his duels and he's stomping in midfield and he's killing it in other ways. Young as a makeshift centre-back. We've got a fully makeshift team here. Bellanova loses the ball, but he's super quick and able to recover. Avoids danger, ball over the top. Bungard, who's just come on. And we get the lovely comeback, Diamandi again. So one thing that we've seen in the stream is basically every tactic that I've made has been okay. And then every change that I've made after seeing some issues has been great, right? That's the consistent thing that's happened in all of these games. We started off good or okay or kind of meh. The plan was so-so. And then we've gone, oh shit, this is a problem. Oh shit, I didn't realize this. Or, oh, I can change this. And then it's been a massive difference. Like we've almost gathered like 3 XG in the second half, I believe. Or maybe not that much, but you get what I'm saying. Thank you, Rock and Roller. Thank you so much. I want to win the Champions League. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. I appreciate seeing you. And appreciate everyone who's returned so quickly after my hiatus to kind of witness this. So that's great. And the results are looking good. Not necessarily the results in terms of how we expect to win, but kind of showing you how plans, you have an idea and then that idea kind of changes based on the new situation. I know I get ripped for quoting the art of war because people find it kind of funny to use the art of war in terms of football. But I mean, it doesn't matter where you kind of learn something. It matters like what can apply to whatever. And the principle of art of war is no plan survives contact with the enemy. So what I infer from that is guys, rapid. What I infer from that is adaptability is not essential. Adaptability is the most important thing, right? Because you have a plan, okay, but you have to assume that plan is not going to work. So for that plan, knowing the plan is not going to work, if you don't have a plan B, plan C, plan D, you often see Premier League managers, they'll get heavily criticised. Ange Postecoglou, Ten Hag, other managers, you'll see them criticised because they don't tend to have a plan B or a plan C. They have one way to stick to it, a philosophy, but when that's not going well, if you run out of ideas, you run out of things to do, you're going to have issues. And obviously the negatives are you become predictable, but you have a plan, but just because it was a good plan at the time doesn't mean it's still a good plan. I mean, we're still getting overrun by these 10s, and that striker's still rapid. He's super dangerous. If I was smart, I would drop this line back a bit because we've seen telltale signs of this. And we are left and right fairly narrow. We go even more narrow now. We don't need a goal. We need to not concede. We just have downgrades on the bench, sadly. Jebinson's done fine. He's got 2 goals. I don't want to bring him off. I don't want to bring Russell Rowe on for the sake of it, but I do want to get him back to fitness. I don't want to downgrade this while we're holding on. Okello's just come back from injury, so there's not many options. Are you asking why that AI is playing such weird tactics right now? Well, the community, the Discord community in the chat set up these teams, set up these tactics to play against me. These are tactics created and used by people that watch the streams, people that follow me. They've made these signings for these teams, and they've made these tactics. So I'm playing against human created tactics, not the AI tactics. Bones made this one, and as you can see, it's doing really well. He's beating me on XG. I didn't have necessarily the best plan against him, and he's overwhelmed my center. And we admitted that we're taking a gamble prior to this game, that we were willing to take a risk of getting overrun in the center in a kind of benefit of being able to dominate out wide, particularly with the fullbacks. I don't think we've come out of that incredibly favorably, but I think, again, this is a quality of our teams overwhelmed this. If he had an equally good team as us, I'd be very concerned about my tactic, my strategy against his. I don't react too much to shots, goals, offside goals. I also had no reaction when they scored their second one as well. So I'm kind of indifferent about... I don't jump on the emotional roller coaster. I kind of just see what happens. Our DMs, again, predictably didn't have a great game, and we knew they weren't going to have... We knew they weren't going to thrive being outnumbered in the middle. But we did predict Bellanova and Sandra to have great games. Unfortunately, only Bellanova's had the great game. This is a situation that we felt was going to come up, that was going to benefit us. Yeah, oh yeah, that guy's... The problem when I react, oh, this guy's rapid, is also not necessarily drop tempo. I might do time wasting. In more critical situations, I wouldn't say this is the win or die situation. We will get those in the Champions League. Here we got a chance to stop this counter. Bellanova's the difference maker on that. Yeah. Sacrifice to let the rest of the team work. And again, we use that word sacrifice. I like that word sacrifice because it's always football tactics and plans and strategy you tend to do. It's nice to see Jefferson have a good game. 2 back-to-back. Finally. It's only taken 3 years. The lesser of two evils is basically the approach I take. I don't do anything and think, oh, this is no-brainer. This works out 100% of the time. You need to be aware of what you're giving up for what you get, right? Any deal that you make, any exchange you make, any whatever, to gain something. To be more attacking, you're going to be worse defensively. To be more defensive, you're going to be worse attacking. To be wider, you're going to be, etc. Goes on and on. But the important part is to know what exactly you're giving up and is it going to be worth it. You can't give up everything because you have no attack. You can't give up every attacking thing. Compromise, sacrifices, yes, basically tactics. Okay, another 4-2-3-1. Bit of a different one here. You're going to see how I approach these 4-2-3-1s. Very fast, very dangerous striker. Decent, very tall winger. Fast central midfielder. Another rapid, lot of pace in this. To win this game, we're going to need... what roles do I think absolutely suck? I know the answer to this, but the reason that I don't like to answer questions like this is I don't want to stop anyone from trying anything. Nice to see York isn't bottom of the table. Wonder who's been sorting them out. So you can see that Harvey fixed York. Harvey did the signings for York, made them this 3-4-1-2. And you can see York have made an improvement. Who is rock bottom? Ottawa right now. Ottawa have gone from top challenging for top of the league to 0 points this save. Does anyone want to own up to doing the transfers? I know who did them, but does anyone want to own up to who did the transfers and who did the tactics for Ottawa? Because they were high flying. They were competing with us. They were really pushing us in games and probably our toughest or second toughest opponent. And now they're winless, which is crazy drop off. If anyone wants to admit to that, you're a better man than me. I would hide. I would not admit to having no points in 6. Exactly. That's my thinking too, is whatever roles you think suck, try and incorporate one and make it good. I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure you could make any of the roles that people say suck into a good role if you really, really wanted to. Okay, Vancouver at home. We conceded a lot of XG. Do you have any book suggestions? Nah. No, I don't. I'm not a book guy. Don't say, obviously you're not a book guy, because that hurts my feelings. this is why I don't like saying things like it sucks, but if we go pressing forward on defend, I mean, holds up the ball, shoots less often, hold position, takes fewer risks. It's like you're going to have to find a very, very, very specific player for that. In my defense, someone said I played a reducer and a volante. In the beginning of the game, I started with a DM and a volante. It wasn't the whole game. Needs to be 2 strikers though, sure. But I'm saying it needs a specific... I like the midfield, not this guy, but he's injured. He's not going to play. This guy is extremely dangerous as a player to allow to be on the ball, so that can't happen. So no matter what, I'm going to have an offset 10. So that's the start of this thinking process. Is centre-back's not quick. That's cool. Ridgewell's still at Ottawa. Yeah, he played on the left wing. He played on the left wing just right there. Ottawa are winless in 6. Whoever fixed Ottawa really dropped the ball because Ottawa were killing it and had an amazing tactic. I don't know if they reinforced the signings too much, but big switch around this season in terms of placement of teams and who's managed to fix teams well. They need you back there for sure. Absolutely. Okay. So we're playing Vancouver. I'm not taking anyone for granted. I'm not going to rest players. We have a under 21 goalkeeper. So while we've got injuries, so that's going to count for the minutes. I'm going to focus on some happiness, but I'm still going to, press. Havertz is a bit of a pressing forward on defend. I could hear an argument for someone saying that. If someone wanted to make that claim, I wouldn't tell them they were super wrong or whatnot. All right. Havertz is okay at passing. I wouldn't say he's great. I haven't seen him do killer through balls so much. Okay. Danger, people. Danger. Carter, Botchway, Corso. We're not going to be sending our wingbacks up like lunatics like last game. That is not something that's going to happen. Okay? Yeah. Sending our wingbacks up like lunatics is not something that's going to happen this game. I'll tell you that right now. We have to really respect this attack and not be stupid like we have been. Last game was not stupid. It's okay plan, but it's still in the realm of stupid, right? We're going to do the underlap, overlap situation, focus left and right. We'll do the narrow. We'll get the right-footed right back here. We'll do the Bellanova. Full back on support attack. Stay wider, no. Run with the ball, dribble more, cross it more often. We'll do full back attack. Wing back, support, sit narrower. Cut inside with the ball, sure. Really worried about the pace this game. Akello's back, thankfully. He's pacier than other players we've got. Who are other options? Might be have to be Pobega again. Could be Neil, but can't say he played incredible last game. We love Mariba. So he's going to be our reducer. We can play Mariba with the guy. We could put Mariba on the left. We could do Aiden, defensive midfielder, on the right. Mariba on the left. He's either footed. Fullback, maybe. It's hard to tell. Take this, no, dribble more. Boom, boom, boom. Personalize, dribble more. Get further forward. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. We are going to pass ball into space here. We are going to be attacking. This guy is rapid. We're going to be attacking. You can get inverted fullback to work for sure. It's just some imbalance. And then to balance, we're going to go Jebinson again. And Russell Rowe's definitely going to come on this game no matter what. we will go with our, okay, so we've got foreigns, right? Canadian. We need one Canadian attacker, I believe, but I might have miscounted. We'll do Carrera, because I love him. We'll do Bungard. We'll do Diamandi. We could change this, but we won't. Seems all reasonable. We'll do 43-1 against 43-1. We will... So we go tactics. Let's go inverted wing back here. So this is the deadly player. We've got the player on the left. Inverted wing back. He's not the best defensively. That's fine. That's good for us. We'll get some runs coming in, cause him some problems, stop him having some time on the ball. We do... This is effectively an inverted wing back, right? Sit narrower, cut inside with the ball. He's not sitting narrow, but he's not staying wider. This is an overlap situation. Boom, boom, boom. Regista here, inverted wing back, gets into these positions. Boom, boom, boom. Bungard. Okay, let's look at their fullbacks. Okay, not great. Not great. That's cool. All right. This is kind of a generic-ish, standardy way to play. We are using inverted wingback to double up on their DM. We're kind of gonna... This is more of what I would call a template. This is what you can do as well. We're just kind of doing a generic template until we see anything in the match engine that kind of gives us a light bulb idea or something we're going to notice in the match engine. So we're kind of doing a template for this game to see what potentially we could change. There's almost 0% chance that we end up with the same tactic, with the same instructions come the end of the game. We're kind of entering with a template with the view to discover things that weren't alarmingly obvious at the beginning of the game. A bit like the oversight that we see with Romero being a dangerous fullback for Valor. And then we were like, oh, we got Romero. Okay, we need to actually have a response to this. We need to have a strategy to deal with this problem that we hadn't considered in the first place. We can't just ignore it because we've already set up in a certain way. We have the ability to change, and like why not change? Can't say I love them players. And then not being super rigid in an approach, not being super rigid like this is the way, I'm not going to change it. It was a good plan to start with. We always want to be, okay, we have the ability to make a better plan now, so let's make a better plan. Why not? May have drilled that point a bit excessively, but just so there's no kind of misunderstanding. Bit of a template here. Underlap here. We don't think we need an overlap on the right. Bit excessive. Bellanova. Kind of a very basic. Oh, don't want to forget subs. That would be bad. I don't believe I forgot to play subs before on stream, but off stream I'm a lot more reckless with it, and definitely have forgot to put subs on before. Was that bugging? Is anyone seeing me do this? We'll try tomorrow. So yeah, template, basic setup. Look for things in the game we can see, maybe things that we're not seeing in the attributes, in the setup. We'll be able to see the roles clearer. We'll have a bit of a better idea of what it is they're exactly trying to do. Doesn't want to do it, huh? Weird. Okay, Tiaguinho's back. That's good for us. Still a really strong bench. Much stronger bench now that a few players have come back. We're going to have Goodman in goal. Obviously, Raya has done crazy good for all things considered. Made some pretty insane saves. When's Goodman back? 6 to 12 days. That's great. We're missing our best centre-back. I wouldn't know if I'd say best centre-back, but still a real top-tier player to have at this level. Someone have made me feel a lot more confident when we're playing against these rapid strikers. So, again, you want to be able to deal with everything, but you can't have so much quality on your bench all the time. If you have injuries and stuff, you kind of have to make do with what you've got, and that's obviously not ideal. So with our full first 11, first full 11, we can really make a tactic that can deal with most things. I wouldn't say we have the fastest centre-backs ever, but we've got very good centre-backs. We probably play a line that's a bit too high considering the pace of our centre-backs, but yeah. So we go into this with a template. Our goal right now is to identify things quickly in the match engine that we can see will be problematic, or things we can take advantage of quickly and to change it. That's another way you can approach things. A lot of games, I don't know how someone's going to play in PvP. I don't know how someone's going to play exactly. So I'll set up with kind of a template that's okay for my team, okay for their team. And then in-game quickly adjust to, hopefully they don't immediately get a quick goal out of something and go, never knew. So yeah, that is a thing you can do as well. Okay, they got wingers, inverted wing back, volante, regista. Cool. See, we got more information now than we had before. I'd love to get Russell Rowe into the team somehow. We'll go Jalen Neal instead of Pobega. Boom, boom, boom. We'll go opposition. Want the volante on the side. Volante, Regista. Volante is going to come here. Regista on the right. Okay. We're going to leave out Regista, and we're going to go Pobega because he's a beast. And we're going to get him volanteing. Yep. Dribble more. Not necessarily get more forward. Not yet. That we'll leave that to an option. But yes, even just seeing the fact they got inverted wing back, we got that too. You want tactical board gymnastics, please. Not necessary for this one just yet. We don't have any. I think they might, and I'm not sure who. They've gone pretty hard for Sesko a couple times. Seems reasonable. I don't know if pick up after where we left off last match is the best option again, because we said that last time and we didn't play that great before we give up a lot of XG, but we also give up a lot of XG due to risks we were willing to take. It wasn't necessarily poor performance, it was more overcooking certain things. We overcooked the dinner last game and we got away with it. It was still edible. Okay, we're not going to learn too much about a free kick here, other than that Diamandi is quite a good free kick taker. And we win a corner. We're not going to learn too much else from this highlight, other than that we don't go short. We've got very tall players like Okello, Bungard, left-footed. Not ideal. Couple of pointless highlights. Okay, they've got a Regista and a Falante too. They've got an inverted wing back also as their right back. So he comes in here. So there's going to be dangerous in the middle. on this right hand side, which would be our left, but we've got Pobegos, fine. Brout Julia probably won't stay on the whole game. Don't expect Brout Julia to have an amazing game with this lineup. We're going to change this right now. Petrasso, we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this. Little tweaks. Boom, tackle harder, run from position, boom. Not run wide with the ball, they're both left-footed. And let's go. Small change, something we noticed, and we look to target the Petrasso. He's Regista, but I don't feel that he has the skill set to justify him being Regista. If the ball is going to be played to him a lot, we want to have bodies around him. We don't think that he's going to be able to be as dangerous. Assist from Jalen Neal into Mariba, who's the Regista on the right-hand side. Playing the ball around nice here. Find Mariba. Mariba finds a space in between them. Drives. Mariba, quality for this level. Jalen Neal, Pobega, Correa, off the post. Save off the keeper onto the post, I believe. Another decent chance. We've got the inverted wingback coming up into this space, hopefully at some point. Might have to put Sandra on for Brout Julia just to really kind of cook that. We're going to bring on Russell Rowe. I mentioned Okello was tall from corners, very dangerous. Been a while since we scored a direct corner goal, mostly in part because in our other save we're doing short corners, but Okello out jumps him. No one really capable of dealing with that on their team. There's no one to that height and jumping reach level that can kind of stop that from happening. Okay, we have a goal of just reasonable. Everything just seems okay, reasonable right now. Mariba aims for Neal. Brow has to shoot. That's our inverted wingback coming in there. He's wingback right now, but everything's set up to be inverted wingback. The underlap, the sitting narrower, the cut inside with the ball. Oof. Bellanova getting some time and space down that right-hand side. Looking dangerous. Very dangerous player for this level. Russell Rowe, half-time. Been waiting for Jemison to kind of have a bit of a fall-off. Things are going well. Capable of better. Who do you think Arsenal should sign or will sign? I think who Arsenal will sign is a bit more of an interesting conversation than who you think they should sign. Like who they will sign is probably. So Pobega gets into here, inverted wingback gets into here, Bellanova gets here, looks balanced, looks good. Diamandis is going to be a nightmare. Everything else seems reasonable. Tiaguinho can come on for some fitness, as well as Nelson and McKenzie at some point if we get another goal and look. And if they don't look like scoring and we get another goal, then we can start resting some players and getting some fitness for some guys. We praise them up because we're winning 2-0. Petrasso's on a 6.3 as Regista. That is a result of us doubling up on him effectively in ways. Maybe 1.5 and up on him, if that makes sense. But yeah, Petrasso, Regista 6.3, not having a great game here. It's going to be hard for them to control the game with a player. He's a playmaker, and he's not great at playmaking. They're going to pass the ball to him a lot. He's not going to do too much with it. So this is not ideal. It's like counterintuitive. You want your guy who's best on the ball, like us with Mariba. He's Regista. He gets the ball a lot because he's the most dangerous player. We've got a lot of... We had a bit of space there temporarily. Brout finds Diamandi. Diamandi, the predicted danger man. Brout there, inverted wingback. Inverted wingback on cross less often would not have made this cross. This is why we've done a custom inverted wingback who doesn't necessarily have cross more often, but he still has cross to a certain extent. So first time cross there from Brout Julia. Diamandi crushes the box, comes in, gets a goal. He's going to give us a good chance of being able to rest our players. Boom. Brow is not going to run down wide here because he's inverted wing back. Customized. Poor pass from Mariba. Their right-sided DM comes over to cover that. Diamandi kind of unlucky not to end up with the ball there. Correa's got a little bit of space. Pobego's available. Finds Mariba. Remember when I forget because we haven't played the save in a little while, when I'd get so mad at Mariba from just shooting from anywhere that he had to be on shoot less often. I still don't think that's a terrible idea. Here they've got a nice little opportunity. We're able to stop the super fast striker from receiving the ball there, cutting it out. Fast wing backs jumped in to intercept it. It's good. Helping out with our slightly slower centre backs. Pretty good. All right. Anything else we said about resting some players? 0.06 XG from them. We will consider fitness. Pobega, Mariba. Mariba is so valuable that we must. He's become so key now to everything we do that he needs to be preserved at all costs. Mackenzie is a bit of too much of a downgrade for Bellanova because he's under 21 minutes. We did talk about Sandra coming on, but Brout's actually having a good game. Is there anyone? Oh yeah, Jalen Nelson. Correa is also kind of so important to us that we can rest him. So that's cool. A bit of fitness, a bit of all-round squad fitness. Hopefully see out this game, not see too much in the way of attacks from them. We're dominating the ball, very, very different from the previous game we just played against Valor. Very different setup, very different amounts of possession, amounts of XG, amounts conceded, two completely different kind of plans, despite playing against a 4-2-3-1 in both games and using a 4-2-3-1 in both games. They're extremely different 4-2-3-1s for us. We've used extremely different variations of 4-2-3-1s to combat certain things. Certain things that we've looked to try and do, we've done different in both games. Completely different 4-2-3-1s. Similar personnel, similar lineups, but very different in their approach, their style, what they're trying to do. We were much more open in the last game because we had the wing backs just bombing on like crazy. Buchanan's so good, so consistent. I had no doubt that cross was going straight to a striker, straight to an attacker, because Buchanan just, even as a winger, makeshift right wing back, he everything he does seems to just work out. I had no doubt that was going to go in the dangerous area to the right person. Another little substitution, something we can get away with. Their left winger is tired and not having a great game. He ain't going to love playing against Buchanan. He's not going to love playing against an informed right wing back Buchanan, and now it's looking like a very convincing win against a great attacking team with some attacking players. Again, they lack a little bit defensively, where we're quite solid in that area. Tiaguinho came on, played cool. Russell Rowe, not the greatest performance, but he is coming back from injury. We're easing him back into the squad. We want him to really compete with Jebinson for starting number 9. Russell Rowe is a bit more of my type of number 9 than Jebinson, but I like both of them. Different types of number 9s, but still both number 9s I like. Nice to see Bungard getting on the score sheet as well. Them two 10s, them two offset 10s. You see, I tend to like that. Oh, close from Russell Rowe. You see, I tend to like that offset 10s, double 10 type situation, having a bit of an underlap on one side, bit of an overlap on the other side. they're not doing too dissimilar, especially to start the game. But their wingers creating 0.06 xg is going to be disappointing from them. Also, we had 71 possession, and we have a tactic that's not really possession-based style. We're a bit more direct than normal. So nice to see us have a lot of the game. We clearly dominated that one. And then our worst performing player of the season so far getting man of the match, which is cool. I think that's a good time to end it there. What did we start with? We started with a Cav game. Nice one against Halifax. Great one against Ottawa. Again, overcooked the one against Valor. Happy to come out with a result. And then a nice dominant win against Vancouver there. Should be able to get through this season fairly quickly and then have another go at Champions League. One other thing I want to quickly look at is how we're doing for under 21 Canadian minutes. Given that our goalkeeper got injured, so we played the under 21. I forgot where to check, how you check the minutes. Does anyone recall? Where do you check the minutes for Canadian? How do you check the minutes again? Oh yeah, it's here. So we've accumulated 391 minutes. We still have to play 76 minutes worth of some players. Once we've got a nice lead in the table, we've already got a crazy lead in the table. Okay, 29 goals for, only 5 against, pretty good. 21 points. We've got all 7 wins. We can start thinking now. We can risk drawing or losing some games. In the Dream 11, our 11's so strong right now. We've got some players that are not even registered in our team in the first 11. Wembangomo is so close to getting registered. If we did lose Bellanova in any way, maybe Wembangomo becomes an option. But yeah, very, very strong squad, and their performances have been great. Who's been outstanding? Bungard's been our outstanding performer. Shows you pace isn't everything. Bungard, Diamandi, Sandra, Mariba's great. Our goalkeeper that we brought in for 425k, who's not great, has played great, which is good. He's come in and those clean sheets have really buffed his player ratings. No one on our radar other than Aidan Morris, who's a must sign, but we're waiting for this once of other teams to go away before we make our approach. We can't compete with them teams for his signature, so there's no point. We'll just wait. And yeah, thanks for watching. Glad you enjoyed. I'm going to upload this one on YouTube. Thank you everyone from YouTube who's going to watch this. So yeah, thanks guys. I'm so happy that so many of you come back to watch despite me not making any content and not streaming for a while. So appreciate that, and thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.